Dustin sucks. What is happening right now is a complete, utter lack. Just, it's a complete failure. Okay? He shows up late, starts echoing, and then ends the motherfucking stream. So for those of you guys who are joining here in a moment, or as you rewatch this, maybe you're like, what happened? Why are you guys, what is happening? Look, I was on for about 15 minutes before Dustin comes in, actually ends the stream, and here we are. But don't worry. Quick recap. Heroes Con, 2 out of 10, mid. Potbellies, not all that great. But what is good are these books I picked up. They're excellente. Invincible, Compendium, Numero Dos. Sick, right? Super. I mean, I'm telling you guys. This one is kind of frigged up a little. Yeah, the front's damaged. Oh well. It's not the end of the world. Not the end of the world. But this is legit my most favorite story. Comic book wise. I should reread it because it would probably make me happy. So I love it. Phenomenal. And then volume Compendium 1. Got a little dinged up there, but whatever. This is like 1,000 times better than the show. All the dumb changes they made in the show were stupid. You know, they took his mom and turned her into like a total D-bag. And several other changes that were just dumb for no reason. It's not like they were making an adaptation. It was like a one-to-one sort of deal. And they still freaking ruined it. And then, of course, Spider-Man 2099. And that should cover everything else from the last string.
Is it better now? Is it still doing it?
No, I think we're good. I think we're
Okay.
here. Dustin, I think you have arrived finally.
Okay.
Don't end the
Nobody
motherfucking
else is
stream.
here apparently because it says nobody's watching. But
No, there is. There's
okay.
somewhere between 10 to a little more, a little less.
Okay.
Yeah. Drop a comment if you're watching. If not, don't.
Drop a comment, drop a deuce, whatever. It doesn't matter.
No, preferably no deuces. I'm not trying to. So, anyways, Spider-Man 2099, started reading it because of Imperfect Future, which then took me down to Maestro, which then took me to Spider-Man 2099, which then took me to Old Man Logan. It's wonderful. There we go.
It's all right.
There we go. Look, I'm just glad you're here. You've been in such a great mood, and now you're just going to be irritable for at least the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll be fine. I just
This whole Dustin in a good mood thing, I don't know how to handle it. It's unnerving.
hold on. Hello.
Hey, cheer up, man.
Yeah, I'm good. I just got a little flustered for a minute. Guys, joining us live from speakerphone, Bub's Comics.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's the only way I can get on this show. and just so everybody knows, Dustin looks the same in person as he does on TV. But Dustin's brother, he doesn't look any better in person than he does on TV. So that's pretty much, it's what you see is what you're getting with Dustin's brother. So just so you know. But heck of guys, look, if anybody's still watching this, the second attempt at the stream, I just want you to know that these guys are one of my favorite YouTubers on YouTube. Just one of them.
Thanks, man. We appreciate that.
Yeah,
hold on just a second. Yeah. Here we go. Joining us also with Bubs now from speakerphone is Jason, the Southern Comic Geek. You are the fourth caller, so congratulations.
Thank you. Hey, what's up, Jason?
Hey, man, this is the only way we can get on the Two Brothers show. They kind of
I tell you,
than we used to be.
Am I missing something here?
All the time, and now they're just like, yeah, whatever. We don't need these guys anymore. That's right. Now they're chasing that cloud, man. They left us in the dust.
I'm not logged into Instagram anymore because of you, so I have no clue what's happening.
This is not on Instagram. See, I actually
Was
have
this
real
live on
friends.
Instagram?
I actually have real friends and have their actual phone numbers.
Oh,
No,
He-
this is
He thought you guys were
these
calling me
are
through
real folks.
Instagram.
real live folks.
Well, it's been a pleasure talking with y'all. So, Jason, call me, and we'll leave out the middleman, Dustin. We'll leave him out. And hi, Nick. I know I don't say your name enough, but Dustin's brother, Nick. It's always good to see you. It really was a pleasure to meet you at Heroes Con. You're a good stand-up guy, even if I can't tell when you're standing. All right, I'll see you guys later.
See y'all.
this
Right.
motherfucker acts
Later.
like we haven't met at every Lexington con for the last 3 years. I just want to know what people's opinions of the mustache was.
Hopefully there wasn't one.
My wife walked up real close to me today and she goes, "Oh my God, you have so much just pure white in your mustache." She said, "Are you that stressed?" I said, "Well, I am stressed. I don't think I've ever been this stressed in my life, like
What do
as
you-
far as work goes."
Oh, okay. I was like, what do you have to be stressed about?
Dude, I am like the last month, really last 6 months has been the most stressful time in my life, but it's like just peaking right now.
Mhm.
Anyways, I said, no, it's just our dad's shitty genetics that he passed down with the red, the yellow, the
Oh, I got to share
blonde.
this new link in the Instagram chat.
Ugh, son of a gun. But anywho's, Dan, we should do a call-in show. We've talked about that. Dustin could
Yeah.
just send out his.
Sorry. God dang it.
He sucks, dude. Dustin is just terrible right now.
Well, the only way to get the link so that I can send it to Instagram is through my phone. And then when you're on Melon on your phone, you literally cannot turn the volume completely off. And it will only do speakerphone.
Dustin sucks tonight, man.
I promised everyone in the Heroes chat that I would drop this link, and I did, and then I ended the fucking stream.
Oh, are you talking about so they could join?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
Yeah,
like
because to be honest with
Austin
you,
and whoever, and
yeah, because
Jeff
like
said
I'm
he's
like
gonna go grab some food.
I got like 5 minutes worth of conversation to me about heroes, and then it's gonna be you carrying it. So
Yeah, I mean, I don't plan on going like super long tonight anyway, because it's already 10 o'clock and we got to get up early in the morning.
where y'all headed to?
Stone Mountain, there's a show.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Just
Yeah,
because
see-
Heroes was last weekend doesn't mean that the work's like that I'm done. Like we had a show this weekend, I'm going. Week after next, there's another show. I'm going.
Oh, a comic show.
Yeah, it's actually a toy and video game convention. But
I was thinking a show at Stone Mountain.
no,
like
it's a
okay.
toy and video game convention. So I assume that there's a good chance there should be some comics there too, but we'll see.
Yeah. Southern Comic Geek. Are you talking about the Invincible, the Ultimate Editions? I'll cut you a pretty good deal just to clear up the shelf space.
What's up, Mark?
What up, Mark Legion? You got Marky, you gonna jump on? Bubs, it was good. Bubs, it was nice to meet you again. Because I haven't met you, but 4 other times. Meet your wife. It was a shame you didn't bring your son this time.
Bubs got to actually share in part, be a part of me hunting for Golden Age and pre-code horror comics for the very first time ever.
Look, and we got a chance to meet Austin Lemay in person.
Yeah, that was absolutely top 10 moment of the show of the weekend.
For sure. Probably top 5.
I felt like that hug was like,
what blows my mind?
like, sometimes like you walk up to someone new and you don't know like if is this gonna be a handshake? Is it gonna be the bro hug? Is it a regular
mutual
handshake?
warm
Are
hug.
you dapping it up, as the kid would say?
Yeah.
But I felt like there was no question. Like when I saw him, I was just like, all right, you're getting a double hand hug, dude. Like we're going chest to chest, whether you like it or not. And he was like, I felt like he had the same thought process as well. It was just like the hug was happening, and it felt great. Austin's got a great hug.
So he does, and it was okay. So I don't like touching people. I don't like people touching me, but it was certainly I think it was probably the one hug I was not uncomfortable with for the whole duration of the show, and I'll leave it at that. You know what I mean? Like that's, I guess maybe that's the most awkward high praise compliment I know how to give there. But what's crazy to me is we met with like all these guys, and like I hung out with Darren and Justin for most of the weekend while you were doing your thing, and Austin. We got to talk about ages and stuff like that, and I'm like, there's no freaking way he's is as old as he is, or Darren, the same thing, the guy that runs N Worlds. I'm
Yeah.
thinking, mid 30s, and then I figured Darren was like, maybe hit 30, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing when I first saw Darren. I was like, there's no way this dude is older than me.
Yeah.
I was thinking he had to be younger than me.
Yeah. So we definitely are going to be aging like shit.
Oh yeah. Wow.
Yep.
Happens like that sometimes.
It is what it is. But it was super nice. But anyway,
I think Darren was the shock of the show for me.
What do you mean?
I just didn't realize, like, I'd never met Darren before, but I never would have thought that I liked. I didn't. I guess I liked Darren a lot more than I expected to for someone I've never met. Like, I immediately felt like I love the shit out of this guy. Within like 5 minutes of meeting him, I was just like, I like this guy.
Well,
and then by the end of the first day, I was just like, I love this dude. Like this dude right here. Me and him, we can hang out and get along. We enjoyed a spell of trying to make Nick feel as absolutely uncomfortable as possible.
It wasn't even me, dude. I was worried you were about to get Justin fired.
Nah. And the fact that Darren, like, immediately, without me even saying a word, picked up on exactly what was going on and played, and he was just like all about it and just jumped in on it was perfect. I was like, that's how I knew. I was like, yep, you're my friend. We are friends. End of story.
Man. But it was pretty good. So what do you guys want to recap, or what do you want to do? Do you want to give like a full recap? Do you just want to try about highlights? What are you thinking? You want to show off your books first? Because
yeah, I guess I'm not showing off everything I picked up at Heroes Con because my God, I picked up a lot and we don't have that much time. So I just kind of picked out the ones that are stuff I'm definitely going to keep, and the stuff that I was really excited about picking up. So I'll show those, and if anybody ends up jumping in, and then we can kind of do like a Heroes Weekend like highlights and stuff. But anyway, so I got this. Let me do this so I don't drop the bastard. I picked up this World's Finest. What issue is this? 180. I always want to say it was 108, but it's 180. This is Neil Adams artwork. This is my absolute favorite Neil Adams cover. Favorite World's Finest. And there's a guy there that he always has raw books. All he sells is raw books. And if you look at the prices, you'll see stuff like this, $180 for this issue. And you're like, that's so overpriced. You can get this for $30 anywhere else. But then when you look at the condition of all his books, they're all like untouched, absolutely untouched. I mean, the fact that I picked this up and this absolutely fantastic Nick Cardy Aquaman, and this was the last 12 center. But I mean, the fact that I was able to snag these two books and they're 1000% 9/8 candidates. I didn't really balk at $180 a piece for them, because when are you going to find books of this caliber with the same quality ever again? Probably not going to.
Or next year at the show.
Yeah, because he'll be there again next year. And I was counting on that this year, because this book in particularly was one that I was hoping he would have. He had another Aquaman that I really wanted. I forget the issue number, but it was the one we talked about with Black Manta holding Aquaman over his head. The one me and you have looked at multiple times. He had that one, and it was like probably 9.4, maybe 9.6. That one he wanted like over $450 for it though. And I was just like, damn, like, okay, I can't do that, because I was looking at it like I can buy a 9.6 for $500. So problem is when is the 9.6 ever going to come to market? Probably not, but I couldn't go for it on that.
Bubs, I was gonna add you, but I can't get logged in. I don't know if Dustin changed their password again.
No, it's what I told you it was. Your name, my name, and then our name.
Yeah, I tried it twice and it's not taking it.
Did you capitalize your name first letter and my name first letter?
Mm-hmm.
And then the number 2?
Well, just go ahead and tell our whole password out loud.
Well, we'll change it. I mean, again, if we need to, but I texted it to you. Just copy it.
Yeah, I did. Literally.
Okay. Did you get in?
Nope.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It's Nick Dustin 2BC.
Yes, that's what I'm doing. Not working.
I don't know what to tell you. That makes no sense. That's crazy.
I'm gonna have to forget it anyways now that at least 20 people know it.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that Aquaman, Bubs. It's freaking badass, dude. Badass. I also picked up Swamp Thing #9. I have this on a T-shirt. It is my absolute favorite Bernie Wrightson cover. It is the best Swamp Thing cover that has ever been produced, in my opinion. I've been
It's
looking for a
beautiful.
nice, high quality copy. You can find these beat up everywhere, but I wanted a really nice copy. Finally found one. Well, what's funny is the guy that had it is a guy that I see at least 4 or 5 times a year, and he had just picked up a really high grade Swamp Thing collection. That was the only one left, so yay for me. Of course, I did find it in a box where somebody hid it so that they'd come out and get it later. So if that was you, I found it. This was the last pickup of the show for me, and probably one of my absolute favorite pickups. Superman 199, first
Yep.
Superman versus Flash race. Now, again, you can find this just about anywhere. Just about every shop is going to have a copy. You're going to see 100 of them at a show. But what you're not going to find is high grade copies. The average grade on this book is usually like 5.5 and under. Raw copies, graded copies. It was such a fantastic story. It was read. So very hard to find nice high grade copies of this book. And I wanted it because I bought a beat copy like 2 years ago from my buddy Tony Sanders. And it was beat to death, but I read that exact copy as soon as I got it in, and I loved this freaking story. I thought it was fantastic. And so I've been looking for a really high grade copy now for about 2 years. So I tried to talk the guy down on this, and I did not realize that my buddy Jeff was actually looking at another book on the other side of the counter. And I walk over and I'm talking to him, and he's like, he starts laughing. I was like, what? He's like, you ain't trying to get a deal on that book, are you? And I was like, yeah, you know I am. He's like, Bubba, you ain't never going to get a deal on that book wearing the cover on a damn T-shirt standing here at the booth. And I look down and I'm like, shit, I had my Superman 199 T-shirt on and this hat. And I'm just like, damn, I didn't even cross my mind. But they did come off of the price a pinch, but I mean, whatever. It's all good. Got this from my man Geek Out with Roscoe. Really awesome sketch cover he did with Bowser and the Power Glove instead of Thanos. You got the Power Glove there, which I mean, that was what sold me. When I saw the Power Glove, I was like, got to have it. If you guys follow us on Instagram, you saw where I picked this drawing he did of the Wet Bandits up for my son. He's 8 years old and he loves the good stuff. So beautiful artwork there. Love it. And this Johnny Bravo is Terminator. Just perfect. I mean, you could not ask for a better crossover there. Absolutely freaking fantastic. So picked those up. I got a couple more. There's not much left.
The Heroes check is gone.
No, you have to go to the search tab. I added Bubs back in there. He's in there.
What? Where did it go? That's weird.
You have to search for it and then it pops up. I don't know. The last 2 copies of any Mortal Kombat book that I did not have, Battle Wave 5 and 6. I now have every copy of every book. I have a copy of every book ever printed for any series in Mortal Kombat. Those are usually stupid expensive, like $60 a piece raw, because they're really rare to find. Especially issue number 6 with Shao Kahn forcing Sonya Blade to marry him. Very rare and hard to find those. So I got a great deal on them. I had to pick them up. And now we'll get to the last 4 books. Golden Age, Wonder Woman, freaking beautiful shape. Awesome. It's got a pink cover. You know what I'm saying? The pink cover is what sold it for me, right? I mean, there's nothing else on this book right here that would have caused me to purchase this. Except that everything's happening on a pirate ship, and she's fighting a big-ass red-bearded pirate called Redbeard. So had to pick this up. I've got about $80 in this book, which is beyond fantastic for Wonder Woman issue number 20. So that worked out fantastic for me. Picked up a super high grade copy of TMNT number 1. Thank you to Comic Clear. Golly, I almost forgot their name, for hooking me up with these magazine size clear boards. They are awesome. But as you can see, man, this thing is beautiful. So had to get an upgraded copy of my TMNT number 1. I did let go of the copy I used to have because I wanted to upgrade. See that little dent right there? Boom, we're going to press that out. I think this has got 9.6 potential. I really do. I think it's probably going to settle right around the 9.4 range, if I had to guess, but I would not be extremely surprised if I did get a 9.6 back out of it. So big upgrade from what my other copy was. All right, last two. This was probably the surprise, the biggest surprise pickup for me, because I don't collect this kind of stuff. Never really bought books like this before. But I've always been a fan of Alex Schomburg art. I like pirate stuff. I like sharks, and I felt like that the price on this was pretty cheap. And when I bundled it with another book, I ended up getting the other book pretty much for free. And that one's a project book. So yeah, I couldn't leave this, man. This was probably one of the best pickups of the show for sure. Exciting Comics number 60. It's a triple threat book. You've got Good Girl art, you've got a shark cover, and Alex Schomburg Golden Age. 1948, 6.5 off-white to white pages. This is way, way, way high in the census, and it's got plenty of room to end up bumping the grade on this. So this is going to get cracked. I'm looking for as high as an 8.0 to come back on this book. So originally, this was thought to be a project book, but I think I have looked at this book more since I've got back home than any other book I picked up. So that may have to be a keeper. I don't know. Last book, guys, and then we'll get away from this. I know this starts to bore people. Nick's been on his phone for 20 minutes. He's already heard this and seen these about 30 times, though, so I don't blame him. This time he gets to have a pass. The one that got away. Nick, you want to tell him what happened with this book the first time? Like from your point of view, like what happened with this book the first time?
When you went into the Deep Depression. So if you guys have never seen our Lexington Con video, it was basically me telling Dustin that he should do exactly what he did for this con, sell everything he owned and had to basically make himself happy again and start rehunting books. Because a lot of the smaller books he's had that's appreciated, he can always go back and find those pretty easily. But for these big boy books, hey, go ahead and sell everything you got, buy the big boy books, or whatever you want to do, right? Originally, we were talking about buying FF5, and he's like, oh, I don't have that kind of money. Turns out he has twice that kind of money. But anyways, so he was pissed. He was depressed. It was the most sad thing in the world. It was like
we couldn't find anything at the show that made me. Nothing made me look at it twice, basically.
Yeah, and he found one book, and it was a good book. I mean, it was your grandpa's book, but he didn't have the money for it. It wasn't all there.
Yeah.
Or either you did and just didn't have the cash, something like that.
Yeah.
But he was pissed. He was legitimately depressed. I don't know how long it took him to get over the depression because he has a sickness. Dustin has a comic book sickness, and I think it's solved. Yeah, Mattis, Dustin sold everything. You should do a video on that, and I'll edit it sometime next year.
Yeah, I know, right? I am doing a video on it, though. I actually started recording on it like over a week ago, kind of doing it like in clips, kind of documentary style, like what I did, why I did it, and the progression all the way through until I'm finished and either meet my goal or don't meet my there's no option but to meet my goal. Like I the only world I live in right now is the world where I meet my goal. It's not even a question. So,
but yeah, Mattis, Dustin has basically his Mortal Kombat books, and that's it.
I got my Power Rangers, my Mortal Kombat, the Walking Dead 1 stayed, the Neil Adams 227 Batman stayed, The FF1 record reprint stayed, and the FF51, my 9.0 thing cover, that stayed. But all the other big stuff is gone. All of it. So basically, yeah, I ended up I couldn't afford the book once he came down on the book, but then I couldn't afford it still. He even gave me a cash price. So I was like, "Are you going to be at Heroes by chance?" And he said, "Yeah." He gave me his number, put it in my pocket. It got washed in the washing machine or something. I was never able to find it again. Fast forward to Heroes Con. I'm looking for this guy's booth everywhere. I don't even remember what the hell he looked like. And Justin calls me. "Hey, can you come here for a minute and look at this book?" I'm like, "Son of a bitch, Justin. Can't you buy your own books, dude? I'm hunting too." What's up, Bubs?
Oh, okay. I was gonna let you finish your story and then bring it
Oh,
on.
it's okay. What's up, Nick's Kicks and Comics? It was awesome to meet you too, man. Anybody that's in that chat, I did drop that link in there. But what are you doing, Nick? I'm finishing my story. You over here throwing Bubs on the big screen?
I mean, he has a real comic book collection back there. Look at it.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, I promise.
All right.
So anyway, so I'm like sitting here thinking like, God dang, Justin, I'm trying to find this book. Got a million things to do, and you want me to come over here and haggle prices for you, which is really my favorite thing to do anyway. So I go over there, talking to the guy, find out that this is the guy that actually puts on Lexington Comic Con. So I was like, "Oh, well, you're the guy I need to talk to." I said, "I'm looking for this guy. He had a booth at Lexington, and I was just trying to find out if he's here." And he's like, "Okay, what was his name?" I said, "I don't know." "Well, what do he look like?" "I don't know." He's like, "Well, we're off to a great start." So I tell him, I'm like, he had a bunch of like pre-code stuff, and he had a bunch of like movie horror books. He said, "Yeah, there's only like a couple of those guys in here, so this should be easy." And then I see this Freddy Krueger book on his wall, and I'm like, he had like 6 of those Freddy Krueger Nightmare on Elm Street books. He's like, "Oh, it sounds like so and so. He's right over there." And I look to my right, and in the next aisle over, I see the book sitting on the wall, and I go up to him, and I'm like, "Hey, man, you remember me?" The guy says, "No." I said, "Okay." I was at Lexington. I was like, "Well," I said, "as soon as I ask for this book, you're going to remember me." And I pointed to us. "Let me see the Weird Terror #2." And he still had it. He remembered me immediately, and he gave me the same price on it that he offered at Heroes or at Lexington. And I was able to pick up one of the most badass pirate covers you will ever find. Weird Terror issue #2. It's got a really cool date stamp. Nick has just pulled us all off the stream. What are you doing? Oh, I can't hear you. Can anybody hear me? Oh boy, I quit.
Nope, I didn't do anything. Are you still there?
I can hear you now.
Dude, I have no clue. I swear to God, I didn't do anything.
Okay. Could you hear me the whole time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Something just happened. It was like a refresh, and now we're back.
Oh, okay.
Tonight has been horrendous.
Yeah, it has.
Bubs,
Absolutely.
my mustache in person isn't as bad as it is on stream, is it?
Now we can't hear Bubs.
No. He said it's much better. That's all we need to know.
Oh, okay. No, I can't hear you. All right, he'll be right back.
This is terrible.
It is. So this is from 1952. It is Pete Morrissey art. My first ever pre-code horror purchase. And yeah, I was absolutely thrilled about buying this book. Can't hear you still. But this is actually the book I'm holding in the thumbnail picture of the video that I ended. So that was all the pickups. I was able to get the one that got away and pick up a few more that I didn't know I even needed. So it was awesome.
And that Schomburg shark is beautiful.
There he is. Now we can hear him.
Nobody gives a
Absolutely
shit about a
gorgeous. My wife
Sham.
has that on a t-shirt.
Oh,
She
yeah.
likes it so well.
My buddy Jeff has a t-shirt of it too. And I mean, it is so clean.
I love it.
It's this thing is it's incredible how nice this book is. I couldn't believe it. I mean, just on that alone, I could not leave it. And then when I looked at it, and I was like, man, this is a Schomburg from before, in the 40s. Good girl art. You got the shark. Like, I'm going in on it. So
Good
with
girl art. What does that mean?
What does it sound like it means?
Kind of pedophile-ish, if I'm being honest.
well, I think it was just more of a term to
Yeah.
state that the girl on this cover is not. It's not a seductive looking female, I guess.
Yeah, it's not purposefully sexualized.
Yeah.
No
yeah.
boobies? No boobages?
No.
I mean, there might be, but
I mean,
it's
she's
not like-
she's not like. Yeah, I mean, there's a little.
it's
bit
all
of boobage.
incidental.
Yeah.
What up,
She's
Jigs?
underwater. She's fighting a shark, so I mean, she's pretty covered up considering all that.
Yeah, like she
Yeah.
didn't wake up in the morning and want to dress this way. This just happened during the course of action.
Right.
Gotcha.
And the fact that he airbrushed this is incredible. Look at the sea life, the vegetation under there. I mean, you got the little fish kind of floating in the background there. Just freaking awesome, man. So I'm officially in the golden age and the pre-code stuff now, I guess, which is about the most horrible thing that could happen to a comic book collector, if you ask me. Now that I sold my collection, what is on my want list? Almost everything that I sold, but I want the higher grades that I should not have in my collection because I can't afford them. Like, I'm talking about, I want to get 9 O's on Avengers 4, Spotlight 5. I mean, like, I want to go really, really, really high grades on the bigger stuff that I let go. So I've got a plan, and it's not a matter of if it works. It's just how long it's going to take for it to get me where I need to be to do that. But it'll happen though, for sure. Absolutely, for sure.
Oh, shizzle.
I was able to upgrade one thing already, so that was awesome. But I'm not. But I want to get into a first print Turtles, so that's just a gateway to the first print. Oh my gosh! At all the messages. Who is messaging?
Bubs, how was your Heroes Con trip?
It was fantabulous. Had a great time. Everybody was awesome. I met a lot of people that I had never seen before in person. Several of them I didn't like on YouTube, but they were awesome in person, so that's cool. Turned around, made some new fans out of me. So that so that was pretty cool.
Are you gonna name names?
No, I'm not gonna name names. Well,
Oh, apparently someone else is live right now that's in the chat doing a stream on the same thing we are.
Oh,
yeah, I think Remy's live right now.
Oh, well, he's newer than us. We've been on Saturdays for like 5 years.
It was
Now
it
we're not
great.
as consistent as we used to be, but
Yeah, you are. You do pretty
that
good.
is the most funny thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, some people I didn't really give a shit about them during YouTube, but in person they were not half bad.
Yeah, I was.
I feel that way
when you meet
sometimes.
people, it helps. It helps. And
Was there any opposite where you're like, oh, I like him on YouTube, and then you meet in person, you're like, wow, this dude is not what I expected.
no, and I thought for a minute. I gave it a good thought no. And in fact, some people were even more awesome in person. Like, and I'll name names on that. Like aggressively relaxing.
oh
Yeah.
man, yeah.
Right. I mean, that guy was hilarious. He was
Mhm.
awesome. Had
I
a
got to
great
talk to him
time
a
talking
couple
to
of
him.
times.
Super cool guy. And we don't get that much interaction with him because most of his stuff is his shtick. You don't really get, he doesn't come on lives and hang out. Right. So you don't, well, not that I've seen. So you don't get a lot of time to kind of hang out with him as a person.
Right.
So that was really cool. Like,
Most
so
of us
there were
didn't even
some
know who the
people
hell
like
he was.
that. Yeah. He had to introduce himself to me. Thankfully, I look like I do I look the same in person as I do on here. So
Yeah,
I
and it was
easy-
nice
easily
meeting
recognized.
Jigs. Talked to him for a little bit Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I hate that.
No,
that
Friday.
Nick-
Sorry, Friday.
I hate that Nick is the one that got to talk to Jigs. I mean,
I told him you were there.
I
and
feel like that was a big waste of Jigs' two brothers experience. That it was
Probably.
Nick and not me.
I had a couple people were like, "Oh man, I like your show," and I'm like, "Yeah, Dustin's around here somewhere. If you actually want to talk to him." That was kind of like my,
Look,
and I felt embarrassed, or not embarrassed, but like I felt weird. I was like, sorry, I don't know what to do about this. The whole, yeah, Dustin's here. Find him.
Yeah.
and
He
Jig
won't
said
ruin
I
your
was better in
experience.
person. What a bum. Hey, but that doesn't mean I was bad. That doesn't mean I'm bad here. It just means I was better in person. That's
No,
all
Bubs
good.
is what you see is what you get.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's
And then
pretty
when
much
his
the same.
wife's around, it's same thing.
Yeah, poor girl.
I was expecting like, okay, his wife's here. Like, nope, 100% Bubs,
Mm-mm.
which is great. I appreciate the genuineness.
Yeah, I've tried to be other people and it just doesn't stick. So I'm old enough now. I'm gonna ride this one out.
That's right.
Yeah, there was some
Um,
people that were there that I didn't even get to see, and
Yeah,
a lot of us didn't even know were there. Like, I think not. Well, yeah, I did see him on the last day, but I know Man Cave Collectibles. He does more of like a toys on YouTube. But I've spoke to him several times on Instagram and messaging back and forth on YouTube and stuff. And I was able to finally get to talk to him in person. And, we got to talk for a little bit on the last day. So that was really cool to get to talk to him. Sticky Goose was there. I don't think anybody knew he was there. I mean, I didn't see him, but I mean, I have 99.9% of my time at the show, I have my head down in a box or up on a wall. So,
or on the casting couch, down
yeah.
and up on the casting couch. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, if you caught me sitting on the couch, it was to grab a drink real quick and get back out there. But yeah, we had the big couches out there, and we're trying to we're changing the game as far as like how you do Comic Cons. That's for sure, because you can't beat the couch. I'm trying to see if I got a picture of the couches, because it was pretty awesome. Here we go. So here you got Steven and Ali. If you're on Instagram, you may know these guys as Minor Key Comics and Excelsior Slabs. These are my boys. But yeah, that's how we did our booth right there. We had the couches there. We ended up setting up a little table and some sitting chairs around there, just somewhere that we could keep all of our stuff, not have to carry a book bag around all day. And
Yeah.
when we get back to the booth, sit down and show each other what we picked up and talk shit about who had the best haul of the entire show, which it was easily me. I mean, out of everybody in the building, like Rob Morse can act like he might have gotten the best pickups of the show, but I mean, when he
Poor
goes to bed at
Rob.
night, Rob thinks about my pickups. I know.
So Rob showed a book to everybody at the con, picked up, and then he must have showed it to someone whom I had already shown my pickups to, and we had picked up the same book. So
Oh yeah. It was me.
you showed him?
Yeah, because he texted you sitting next to me we were sitting in the bar, and he texted you sitting next to me, because I was like, oh yeah, Bubs picked that book up today. I said it was really, really cool, man. It was nice. He's
Yeah.
like, oh, son of a bitch.
Yeah, he was tore up because like he paid. I mean, he didn't say what he paid on his stream, but he told me what he paid, and I know what I paid. So he paid like almost exactly 10 times what I paid for my copy. He paid for his. So it was like,
yeah.
But like he said, his copy is objectively better looking than mine.
Hey, when they're in Mylar, man, they all look good.
Yeah, and I'm a low grade collector, and he's really not. Like he's a mid to high grade collector.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I'm looking to have a copy. He's looking to have a great copy. You know? So you pay for a great copy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
know?
Absolutely. Yeah. Trinity, dude, if you can get a plane ticket to Heroes next year, dude, I will hook you up with free entry for the whole weekend, bro.
And he'll let you in the con.
Yeah.
If you
got him.
Oh wait, that's why I haven't been on this show in 3 years. Hold on.
What's funny about that is
I'll see myself out.
Talking about another guy that I could see just going. I might have to go bare chest to bare chest, like skin to skin with Trinity if we were to get together in person. I'm
leaving. Have a good night, guys.
I'm not talking about butt ass naked. I was just saying, like, we might have to pull the Hulk Hogan, rip the shirt off, and just give a straight up, just a big old man bear hug.
That sounds like a plan.
Yeah,
I have
same
one of
thing
those.
with
If you don't
Perry.
do that to Bubs next time you see him, I'm gonna be.
That's not allowed because of the height difference. I'm afraid of where that bear to bear action will end up.
Yeah,
Like,
no doubt.
you give me raspberries in my stomach. Like, we don't need that.
It's a little too much bear to bear action already for me.
I gotta tell you, like, Hialeah Comic Bro was there.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And he came, of course. I don't know if he told this to everybody, but he said he came because he knew I was coming and he wanted to see me, right?
Oh, okay.
So he might have said that to everybody. I don't know. But great guys. But seriously, like when we met, and I felt bad because I had just seen Russ, whom I begged to come.
I didn't see Super Russ there either. I had no idea he was there until he put up a video.
He didn't see you either because his eyes are no good. He could have been right across from him. And so I saw Russ and I had begged him to come. I gave him a big hello and it was good to see him and everything. And we gave a nice little hug. And then like 10 minutes later, Hialeah shows up and like he gives me the biggest man hug you'd ever seen in your life. It was like an anaconda. Then he's like crying on my shoulder, which was awesome. Like we were tearing up and so good to see each other. And I look over and Russ is like, and I was like, oh yeah, we're still happy to see you too. But like, it was just different because I didn't expect it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it hit me in the feels because I've been looking forward to seeing Russ all week. So it was easy when I saw him. And I hung out close to, like, he called me and he's like, I'm getting my ticket. I'm like, okay. So he was over in the ticket booth. So I knew he was going to be down on the floor in a minute. So I was at a booth near the door just so I could see him when he came in. I waved my arm off and he walked right past me. The dude didn't see me at all. That dude can't see nothing. So I was like, all right. So I had to chase after him. Anyway, when Hialeah showed up, it was such a shock and it was so awesome to see him that I was like, holy
You literally
cow,
started crying.
Dude, we we weren't like crying like Hallmark commercial or anything like that, but it was emotional because I just never. First, I was shocked at how short he was, but other than that, which is not a knock on him, but that happens to me because on YouTube everybody looks so big. Like everybody, I don't know what camera angles everybody uses, but everybody looks like full size adults.
Well, Darren legit thought that Dustin was the younger brother. I'm like, no, I just tower.
Well, because I'm so healthy and young and beautiful looking, and you're just
who thought that
mustache.
Darren.
Oh, well, Darren's probably never had you stick a breadstick in his drink, thus solidifying yourself as the younger brother. Because only a baby brother would do something like that.
When did I do that? I do not remember that.
Lexington, 2020. I think. 2021.
All I know, though, is the Weston's lobby, vending machine, salads, and PBJ and turkey sandwiches. Ooh, those things are great.
I wouldn't have mentioned that to you because like who. Like you saw everyone out there had like adult beverages, right? And you just roll up with a turkey salad sandwich or some shit.
I had already been drinking a couple Long Island iced teas at that point, and I was trying to sober up.
I'll just let that sit.
Yeah.
So my job's done.
Look, you were talking about. Oh, go ahead.
I said because I had a White Russian and a couple of those, and then I was like,
"Oh, it's his name."
My God. Yeah.
But you were talking about meeting Raul. So I was in the middle of doing an Elite Comics 11 live sale. So Ali was at our booth. We had Danny from Local Comics. He was writing down what the book sold for and who bought it, and I'm grabbing books and showing them off. And I hear my name and I turn around and I see Steve and Raul standing right there on the other side of the table. And I completely fuck the whole live stream. I don't care. Like I could not believe when I turned around. At first I was like looking and I was like, there's no way that's Raul. And he just tilted his hat down so I could see the top of his hat. I was like, that is definitely, because I was just like, no way
on it.
Yeah, because I was like, no way Raul came all the way out here, man, and didn't even tell nobody he was coming. And when I saw it, man, I ran over there. I was so happy to see him and Steve. And then I mean, I got to talk to him for like just a couple minutes, and then Ali starts hollering. He's get back to work. I'm back on the. Had to jump back on that, and then I didn't see him again the rest of the show. But I wished I would have been able to at least get a picture with him. But yeah, I don't know what it was about seeing Raul, man, but it was definitely
awesome.
exciting.
It was so unexpected. I mean, he's from Florida. You know, if I went to MegaCon, I'd expect to see him.
Right.
But I'm sitting over here in Charlotte. And dude's sitting there. And I saw Steve first because Steve was trying to sneak up on Russ to surprise him. Little did he know he did not have to sneak. Like he could have just stood in front of him and booped him on the nose, but it was like, so he didn't. But anyway, so he's like sneaking up, and I'm like, that's Steve Whiting. And then I look up, and right behind him is Hialeah, who's like grinning from ear to ear, so that was easy, And so me, Raul, me and my wife, and Raul and his wife, who he brought his wife, and Steve brought his wife. So the 6 of us went to dinner on Saturday night. So we all went to dinner, and we went to the Ritz-Carlton over. It's like a couple blocks up from the convention, and we all had paid way too much for a baked potato and had a good time.
What was the name of that steakhouse?
Which one?
The one you guys went to.
The Ritz.
Okay.
It was the BLT Steakhouse.
Oh, okay. That's not the one we went to. We went to another one, and it was really, really expensive too. I've never eaten at a place like that where the steaks are like $60, and then you have to pay for sides separately. And
yes,
like $30.
Yeah, that's how it was.
Yeah,
the food, the main, like you paid for the meat, you paid for the side.
Yeah,
I brought my drink from the bar because we got there first.
Get a side. Like, is that improper to just order like a side of corn?
No, pretty much everybody else did that. Like when we got there, the ladies pretty much took over, and they were like, "So, what are we gonna get? And we're gonna get this. We're gonna split that. We're gonna get this. We're gonna split that." And I was like, "I don't know what you guys are getting, but I'm getting a baked potato, and I don't know how you split that." Like I'm getting my steak and a baked potato. So how do you split a baked potato? I'm not splitting.
Did they refuse? Did your restaurant split the bill if you asked them? Because ours refused.
They did.
Okay.
Yeah, they
ours
did.
refused. It's one bill for the table. It doesn't matter if there's 3 people or 40. It's one bill. But yeah, I was the only one at my table that, money is actually a factor of decision making in my life.
Sure.
And so the rest of these guys are just ordering like whatever. Like they're ordering 3 or 4 appetizers, 3 or 4 of all the sides, and we're just doing family style. And I'm like, oh shit, I don't like the sound of family style because
that means this bill split no matter what you order.
So that was definitely the most expensive meal of the weekend. But I mean, it was such a damn good time hanging out with all those guys. I don't even remember the place, but it was a damn good steak. It was definitely the best food I had all weekend too. So it was worth the price. But
yeah, the food at the hotel was convenient, but it wasn't very good.
Yeah, I was thinking it was about to be like $300 for my ticket, but it wasn't bad at all. Yeah, but it was cool. Fun. It was fun for sure. Uh-oh. What's up, Jeff?
What's up, fellas? What's going on?
How you doing, man?
I'm joining late, man. Got the invite. I'm glad y'all had me.
Oh yeah, man, for sure. Absolutely. I was just telling them about them $150 steaks we ate that night.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, for real. Yeah, I didn't know they were going to be that expensive until we got ready to go. I mean, it's like, but
hey, it was good though.
They were cheap compared to what the dealers were asking for their comics. So,
what steakhouse was it at? Because Dustin can't remember.
Oh
man, it's contagious.
I know. I'll go back and look at my my Venmo, and whichever one was the most expensive, I'll be like, "Yep, that was it."
It was a funny name place. Like it was a weird name for like a nice steakhouse, but
yeah,
it was cool though. I mean, they had us set up in like some like a party room all by ourselves, and there was a bunch of us in there. I mean, everybody talking smack and laughing and having a good time. It was awesome, man, for sure.
Yep. Cool. Yep. Nick got there one day too late. He could have joined us.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Thankful I did not.
Then I could have definitely. Do what now?
Said I've been mad for $150 steak.
Yeah, we went Friday night. If Nick would have went, I would have pulled the I forgot my wallet trick.
Yeah, 1,000 times. No, if honestly, Now Dustin's it's Dustin's turn to pay for a big meal.
I did.
I'm sure. Well, I'm saying for me.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
sure I
Well,
paid
you
for
should
one
have been.
time or
You
two
should have
my
came and sat
anniversary.
down at the table with us on Saturday night, and you would have got a free meal.
I had enjoyable ramen. However, I
Wow.
bought the table's food that night. So
Oh, okay. So we both did. Okay. Well, Uncle Richie tried to pay for my dinner on Friday night, but I ended up PayPaling him and told him he'd kiss my ass.
You know, Richie, that's just the way he is, man. He's gonna
Uh-huh.
try to take care of everybody. You know that.
Oh yeah. I told him too. I looked over. I said, I'm gonna send you PayPal. I said it's coming. He said, no, don't worry about that. I said, I don't give a damn worry about that or not.
he probably didn't even remember you PayPal it to him.
He was on cloud nine. If
Yeah.
he's at a show like that, he's happy. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah.
So what did everybody think book wise? We've I know I have been here live hyping this show up for a year solid. Nick didn't go last year. Bubs didn't go last year. When me and Jeff got back last year, we got back home on a Sunday, and I think it was like that Tuesday or Wednesday. I came out to Livewire, and that we were already talking about how our minds were blown. We were so unprepared for what just happened, and we were just disappointed that we weren't able to take more advantage of the quality and quantity of books there, because we just didn't know what we were getting into. So we've been every single day planning to be prepared for this show this year, and every time we get together talk about it, and it's just been something we've been looking forward to. So how did everybody feel about the show? Did you feel like as being hyped up is probably the best comic show that is going on today? I mean, do you feel like it lived up this year?
Bubs, you go first.
Yeah, I went 4 years ago. Was the last time the last time I'd been there, and that was my first time. So this was my second. And my wife had actually she said this looks like about double. Like it's about double the amount of comic vendors that were there 4 years ago. Now, there were still a lot of quality vendors, 4 years ago, and a lot of good stuff there, but it was not like it was this year. This year, it was ridiculous. And it may have been that way last year to hear others talk about it. But it was already one of the premier comic, conventions 4 years ago for comics, because they didn't lean into the cosplay, and they don't lean into celebrities that are non-comic creators. It was all about comics, and also, and don't get me wrong, and I know a lot of the ladies like it too, but there was very little like crocheted bags with Iron Man's face on it, candles, etched glass, and all that other
the
craft.
trinket.
The trinket and craft booths. There's very few of those.
Shit is hilarious to me.
I mean, there's usually like at Lexington, there's like 3 rows of that.
Yeah, you kind of
it's a little bit
this year. I
much.
felt like you had to hunt to find the comic booths at Lexington. Like,
Yes,
it was,
but there were more Golden Age booths at Lexington
there was.
than there's ever been. So
Those
I was
Buzzard
pleased
brothers,
with the
man.
turn of Lexington having more of the comics I like, but it wasn't necessarily more comics overall. It's about the same.
Yeah, Fish Cat Collectibles, absolutely. If you are going to a comic book convention because of comic books, which is what the 4 of us, I mean, really, really lean into when we go to these shows, that is what brings us in there. This is it. If you're going to get signatures from celebrities and stuff like that, this is not the show for you. But if you like getting signatures from comic book creators, they have some of the best lineups ever. So what do you give it out of a 10 on a CGC scale?
It was a 10-0. I mean, it was mint. I can't think of anything I would change about it.
Yeah.
I like the time that it happened. I love that it happens over Father's Day weekend, and other people don't. Like, other people are like, I wish it wasn't on Father's Day weekend. And to me, as someone who's hunting books that are difficult to find and also difficult to afford if you don't find them cheap, then I need something to pull away some people from the convention. Otherwise, it would be just as busy as any of those other conventions we've been to. So I need only people who really care about comics to be there that weekend. And as a father myself, Who's going to tell me no? Who's going to tell me I can't go to Charlotte Father's Day weekend?
Yeah.
That's where I want to be. Surely and every now and then somebody gives you a little extra of that cheddar to go spend on books because it's an easy gift for Father's Day, right?
There
It's
you
Father's
go.
Day. I'll help buy you a book. Oh, perfect.
There you go.
Father's Day. I'm going to pick out dinner. Hey, I mean,
Yeah,
it's awesome.
I'm at the point
So-
in my fatherhood where I'm still buying my own Father's Day gift. So it's the opposite for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that
don't
does
even worry
happen.
about it. My wife asked what I wanted for Father's Day. I said, "Hey, babe, I'm leaving Thursday morning before the sun comes up to head to the most wonderful, happy, and magical place on earth." I said,
Yeah.
"And Disneyland ain't got shit on this place."
What's
Mm.
happening?
That was perfect.
So what do you think, Jeff? I know you kind of. I know there's some mixed feelings there. I know I had to have a talk with you on Friday. I had to hype you up a little bit, but how did you start the week, and then how did it end?
This was a crazy con and a crazy way to describe things for me. Like, I've never been more prepared for a con, and then when I got there, the rug completely pulled out from under me. It was like I wasn't even prepared. It was the most fun that I've ever had at any Comic Con in my life.
Mhm.
I mean, we had an amazing time. I mean, the setup, the people. I mean, a lot of people that I've just known through social media and stuff. Finally get to meet them. I mean, I had a ball. It was amazing. The mission, my mission that I was on was a complete failure, and that was part. I kind of overextended myself, and the reason it was a failure is, we did the live sales. We set ourselves up perfectly to go in, find these books raw, which that's the huge advantage of a major show like this, unlike buying on Heritage or Comic League, where you think a book might be a 9092, and you're examining the book. Well, you've got these books in hand. There's no excuse that you can't hit the grade. The failure was me not thinking, me selling stuff at GPA fair market value, thinking the prices are down, which I'm okay with. I'm going to sell prices down, but I'm going to turn back around and buy prices down. So I'm okay. The failure was I took GPA and didn't think about the dealers not wanting to budge at all.
Yeah.
I mean, example after example. 4-Color 16, scarce book, tough book to find. A lot of guys don't move on it. There was a 5.5 that was presented to me. GPA on that book may be $8,000 to $9,000, but sales are always real low. Sales
And what's
don't
4-Color 16? That's not Mickey, is it?
First Mickey Mouse, yeah.
Okay,
First
that is Mickey.
So you really you have to adjust GPA on books like that when they don't sell every 4 or 5 years. GPA was maybe $8,000, something like that. So I'm thinking 5.5, I should be able to get this book for 14, 13.5, 14 grand. $29,000 was the ask on a 5.5. 29K. So at that point in time, you really can't even negotiate. You can't
No, it's
even
not even worth
look a
even.
dealer in the face and say, hey, what about 18.5? What about 19? I mean, you're so far away. And it was over and over and over on everything. And I just couldn't get deals done. I really couldn't get deals done. Now, I left this show. Now, that's just one side. I left this show knowing that I didn't make any money. I didn't make any money as far as buying, pressing, cleaning, selling books down the road. But this is the one show that you can go to and find stuff for your personal collection that you can't find anywhere else. And in that aspect, it was a huge win because I love scarce gold key cartoon books that mean something to me. Saturday morning cartoon books, the
Mhm.
Jetsons, the Munsters, Hanna-Barbera, Space Ghost. All of those books are extremely, extremely tough to find in high grade. And we found a stash, and I'm talking about a stash. And I was able to walk away with a 9.2 Jetsons 1, which is the second highest grade, a 9.4 Munsters 1, which is the second highest grade, Dell Color, a
They were
Dell
graded. They were graded when you picked them up already.
Yeah,
Okay.
they were all Steve Geppe's personal books. There was a guy that worked for Geppe in Baltimore back in the 80s, and Geppe had busted up a lot of the gold key stuff. Even though he kept a lot of the hero books, A lot of the Gold Key stuff went to this guy, and it wound up. And the guy didn't even have them out; they weren't even on the wall. He had them slid up under a table, 6 boxes, and they were loaded with file copies, all of that were Gold Keys. A lot of 4-color stuff, just really hard to find stuff. So in that aspect, I left with some things that no other show on earth could have provided me. Maybe San Diego, maybe C2E2, but money wise, like dealing, buying, selling, flipping, maybe pick up a 9294 Spider-Man 300 with hopes that there's a 98 down the road. Man, that stuff it just wasn't there. They just would not budge on any prices. But overall, it was an amazing show. I'm happy with what I got. Oh, and I did pick this one up. I actually have this one handy. This is one you don't see every day. And I don't think I could have found this one at any other show. Let me see here. This
Is
one.
this the one I was with you when you picked up?
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I don't think I've seen you more excited to
that's cool.
finally pick up a book.
Yep. I've been looking for this for quite some time. Famous Funnies 5, first appearance of Santa Claus, 1934. It just doesn't. It's just a ghost. I mean, it doesn't show. And when I was walking by, it was Worldwide Comics, which I buy from Worldwide Comics. You got a great website, great people. And I walked by, I saw it, and I was like, "Whoa, Famous Funnies 5." I was like, "Can I see that book?" And I think her name is Rebecca. I think it's Rebecca. She handed it to me, and she was like, "Yeah, this is the first appearance of Santa Claus." And I was like, "Yeah, I know." And she's like, "Well, we didn't." She said, "We didn't know. Somebody had come by. They had it on the wall, and somebody had told them that it was the first Christmas comic and first Santa." So as long as they'd been in the game, they themselves had never owned a copy. And there it was at Heroes. I mean, one of the few places that you can walk up and find 1934 first appearance of Santa. That's what kind of show Heroes Con is, and that's why you can never miss it. It just, you can never miss it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I knew that I kind of had an idea where you were going to go with, describing your experience. I mean, first day we were there on Friday, I mean, we come in that morning and I mean, crap, I think I'd already spent like $800 before you guys even got on the floor. And, I mean, it was me and Jack were the first ones through the door every morning, and we were in everybody's boxes already. And I'm coming over there, I'm showing everybody what I'm picking up, and a couple hours later I come by to drop off another pack or another stack, and I see Jeff sitting on the couch, and I'm like, "You good?" And he's like, "Man, I don't know." He's like, "These damn dealers, man." And like I can see it in his eyes, and I'm like, "Oh, hell no." I said, "We have spent a year preparing for this. You have spent the last year that you've known me completely changing my outlook and attitude in life to this no defeat attitude." And I was like, "I cannot have you sitting here on this couch thinking that you about to walk out of here and look at this show as a loss." I was like, "Hey, you might not make no money, but you know what?" And I'm sitting here, I'm like, "You don't even like buying and selling. Like you ain't never even done it before. Like if that's not working, change it up. Go buy the shit you want then." And that was when he said, "Man, there's a book here that can flip it for me and change everything." He's like, "But the guy won't sell it." I said, "Bullshit. If it's at the show, it's for sale." I was like, "I'll go break his knees. What do we need to do?" And I'm like, "Look, man."
when you saw me on the couch, I had just got the rug pulled out from under me. Man, I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what the odds are. I mean, I guess we're all like, "Oh, it would only happen to me." But Dale had that Chamber of Chills 19 that was a 7.0 file copy. The book looked like it was an easy 8.5, and I was really geared for that book. I mean, he'd had it on his website for at least 5 to 6 months.
Yep.
Not a sniff. So I'm thinking I can go in with cash money, make a good solid offer, and maybe walk away with this book, get a good press and clean, bump it 2 or 3 grades. And I come to the booth, and I'm just kind of playing it down a little bit, acting like I'm shopping. I'm not shopping. I know exactly what I'm there for. And I'm looking, and I'm like, "It's not here." And I was like, where's the Chamber of Chills? And he said, "I sold it last week." He said, I took an $8,000 deposit from a lady from New York. And he said, she's going to pick it up next week. And I'm like, "You got to be kidding me." I knew that was the one thing that no matter what happened to Heroes Con, that I was coming home with that book, and it didn't happen. So when that rug got pulled out from under me, I think that was think that was Friday morning.
Yep.
I had to recoup quick, man. I was
Yeah.
like, I had to get my stuff back together. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm like, man, this is my rock of positivity right here, because I am
Yeah.
not a positive person by nature. And you can ask anybody in my family, from Nick to my wife to my mother, hell, probably to some of my friends. I am about as unpositive a person by nature as you can get, and that has just all shifted in the last year. So I'm like, look, if I can't believe that you can get defeated, because then what does that mean for me? Come on
Yeah,
now,
yeah.
like, so.
Well,
But sometimes you just need somebody to prop you up a little bit and kick your
Yeah.
ass back out there on the field. And
Yeah.
hey, you ended up getting those file copies. Then me and Nick turn around and we see Jeff, nothing but ass and feet hanging out from under somebody's table at their booth, and we're like, do they know he's digging under their booth? And he drags
I
this like
forgot about that. Yeah.
he drags this bag out, and it just keeps coming, and he's got this bag as big as me. And I mean, the artwork that was in there was absolutely amazing. And Ali's not here, but I mean, he kind of had the same thing, as Jeff. When I talked to him, he's like, dude, these dealers are so high. I was like, hey, then go find something that you can hang on your wall and keep, dude. And he went and found the Frankie, which that had all of us excited, man. That Frankenstein was incredible. So, I mean, I think everybody, at least if nothing else, we all found some stuff to add to our personal collection that was a total surprise to find there.
I found so much I added. It was just,
well, except for Nick, yeah. I mean,
wow.
but
Well,
I think
I had an
everybody got
experience.
a book from there that was just like, man, like, I don't think I could be more excited if I found anything else.
And I had an experience like Jeff did. I was in talks to buy a Hulk 1.
Ooh.
And it just, we're $500 off. And you would think that's not a lot, but when you're already putting in several thousand, obviously $500 starts to make the break. Like, is this a good deal or is this not a good deal? Right. And I was talking to everybody. I already had the dealer vetted, and everybody's giving me all this feedback of what I should do and what I shouldn't do. And we couldn't come to a deal. We're $500 off. I still got pictures of the book I look at every now and then, like since I got back, like, should I have, or whatever. It's probably sold by now anyway. And that was Saturday, like morning. So Friday went all smooth. So I was pretty upset when I decided not to get it. But then I was like, well, because me and him, we were going to work on payment plan and everything. I had it all set. So I was going to give him $300 down right then. And then the book was reserved for me, and I'd be making payments for 2 years to pay this book off, because obviously it's a big book. And I had already spent a bunch of money on Friday. So now if I'd seen that book first thing Friday, I could have maybe done more cash wise. But I was like, I got $300. This is it. So when I didn't get that book, I was walking around like I was so upset.
And his
I was
life
like, my
turned
gut,
around.
my heart ripped out, and I just was so upset. And people were talking to me. I saw several people from the community, and I was just telling them, I almost bought a Hulk 1. I still might. I don't know. I was all messed up. Yeah. And then finally, I realized, wait a minute, I was going to spend $300 right now on that book, just to start the payment process. That means I got $300 to spend. So then that made me happy. And I started looking real hard at books, and I found two. Like, first I found this Dollman 37, and that's the first appearance of Doll Girl, or Lady Doll. I think it's Doll Girl. And the guy I'm not going to say he didn't know what he had. He had it priced pretty well. It was maybe half what I thought it should be, especially for the condition, which is pretty solid. And but I didn't have this book. I've been wanting this book for years, looking for an affordable copy. And I was trying to work with the guy. We did work a deal out, and he was like, yeah, those Doll Man books, they all sell real easy. So I could tell he didn't know it was a first appearance or whatever. So that was a huge win that I would not have bought if I had spent money on the Hulk 1. I wouldn't have got that. And then the other big book that I picked up after the Hulk 1 loss was a Starling 47. And there's no way I would have got this book if I had spent a bunch of money on the Hulk one. I would have like stopped shopping and went back to the hotel and hid in the corner, waiting for my wife to find out. So, so this is where I was. So I wouldn't have got.
Like, hey, I just bought a car in the form of a comic.
Pretty
book.
much. And I'd always said that. I was always said, a Hulk one to me is like buying a car. Like if I got money to buy an extra car, I'll buy a Hulk one, and we'll see how it goes. But yeah, and I still look at the Hulk one, and every time I look at it, I'm like, I see things wrong with it. Was it
raw or was it graded?
It was raw. It was raw. It was beat. But the cover was okay presenting. It had some writing on it, and I really don't like when like people write inside the trade dress, and like the Hulk had like pen marks in it, and that's a real turnoff for me.
Yeah,
and ultimately it was the reason why I wouldn't come down on why I wouldn't meet his price.
Yeah,
if it didn't have that writing, I'd have met his price and probably gone a little higher. I've been happy to, but I had to hold on strong. I sent pictures of the book to everybody. Like people were coming. No, I mean people who know what the hell they're talking about. And then stuff was coming in, no, I mean about this book specifically, and I had the dealer vetted and everything. And I was like, hey, yeah, exactly. So anyway,
that was kind of me here at Huntsville. Danny had put up Look Over Comics. He had put up like a preview of what he was going to have at Huntsville, and he was going to have a 1.0 FF5. And I was gearing up for it. And I was like, man, I'm going to work something out with Danny on that book. Well, he sold it before I even got there. I mean, 5 minutes before I walked in the room, he said he had just sold it. And I was talking to our buddy Steven, and he was like, man, he's like, don't let that get you down. And he's like, honestly, he's like, think about it. He's like, a 1.0. He's like, how long would you even be happy with owning that book in a 1.0? He's like, all you got to do, he's like, just wait on it and keep stacking up. He said, go get like at least a 3.0 that you're going to be happy with. It's going to look way better. And so I ended up getting to see the book, and I was like, yeah, it had like writing all over it and stuff. I was like, okay, yeah, I probably would have been like, that's a lot of money to spend on this, and it's got all this writing. And it's one of those things where it's like, do I want to, is it worth dropping money you don't have now just so you have a copy, even if it's not a copy you're going to be happy with long term? Or would it be better to wait and have enough money on hand to not just buy it, but actually have cash to sit there and be like, look, I've got the cash, we can make a deal and actually pick up a copy that you're going to be happy with for a long time, and you're not having to settle for something that you're not happy with. And also, trying to, how am I going to get this money up? And pulling money from places you probably shouldn't. It would have been a whole deal if I would have ended up buying that book. So it worked out a lot better that I didn't. But yeah, that one right there was kind of like what Jeff was saying too, where it's like, I come here for this one book, and then it was sold before I got there, and then there was nothing else at the show for me. But luckily,
there's a 20-minute fog period when that happens. I mean, you go into a fog.
Yes, for sure. And you don't know what's going on, and you're like I swear I could even hear sounds differently. Like the whole con was getting quiet and loud and quiet and loud. And I was like walking through, and I wasn't even looking at books. Like I'd walk through and I see all these books on the wall. I was like, there's comic books.
That's the way this book was for me at Lexington, man. When that guy, when he wouldn't come down, I think all I had $1,200 in my pocket, and he wouldn't take it. He refused to take it. And I had in my hand for trade, I had an ASM 31 in like a 6.5, and I had another, and I had an Avengers 4 in like a 4.0, and I couldn't get anybody to buy them off of me. None of my dealer buddies wanted. They're dealers, so I knew they were gonna be able to come up with, to GBA, but I mean, they were like offering me less than half. I mean, barely a quarter for them. And then most of the dealers didn't want to touch them. And this guy refused to even work a trade with me. He's like, I don't sell this kind of stuff. I don't move this kind of stuff. He's like, superhero stuff's not going to work. He's like, so I can't even do a trade with you. And I'm literally sitting here about to offer this guy. Like, I wanted this book so damn bad. This is how stupid I get. Nick will confirm. I almost said, $1,200 in these 2 books. I mean, I was holding over $1,000 of books in my hand. That's how bad I wanted this. I was just about to just shit the bed to take this book home, and luckily I collected myself. I was like, look, this guy said he's going to be at Heroes. How many other people on the planet are looking for pirate shit besides your dumb ass? There's probably a good shot it's going to be there. And I even asked him, I was like, how many shows are you doing between now and Heroes? And he told me, and I was like, well, how big are these shows? Like, are they big shows, small shows? What's the turnout usually like? And trying to gauge what my shot was. So I was just like, I'm just take the shot. And I was sending pictures to Jeff and crying and belly aching to Jeff. And oh my God, this bastard wouldn't take my money. And it worked out though. I mean, I made the decision that I wanted to up my collection massively, and I made huge sacrifices on with my collection to put myself in the position so that when I walked into Heroes Con and I saw this book, me and that guy didn't talk about nothing. He showed me that he had the book. I asked for it. I said, you still take what you told me at Lexington? He said, yeah. I said, you ain't coming down anymore? Not nothing. He said, no. I said, all right, here you go. Handed him the cash. I already had it counted out in a special envelope marked Weird Tales or Weird Terror 2. I already had it marked out for him when I got to the show. And so, I mean, that was just huge victory immediately. So
That's awesome.
I'm real bad.
Schomburg was a big pickup too. That was a great book.
Yeah, I was showing them that earlier. I was like, this was the biggest. This was the biggest surprise pickup for me. And I originally had bought it with the intentions of improving the grade and selling it. But I mean, I look at this book every single day. I pick it up and look at it. I don't think, even if it stayed a 6.5, which really don't think it's going to stay a 6.5. We think it's probably.
Be careful. What's the page quality on that?
Off-white.
No brittleness, nothing.
No, this book is.
That's where it gets tricky.
Yeah, no, this book is structurally an 8.0 minimum. I mean, you look at that spine. There's not even a tick on it, much less a color break. The thing that hurt this book was the amount of tanning on the back of it, because the corners are all sharp. There's no color breaks. There's no ticks on the spine at all. Like it is structurally, I mean, an absolute peach. And the more I've looked at it, it's grown on me so much that I don't think I'm going to be able to get rid of it. I just don't.
You're telling me that if I fall over backwards tomorrow in a comic shop and a whole bin spills out of Power Rangers, Turtles, and Mortal Kombat books, all raw, all 90s, and you don't, you're telling me you won't trade that box for that?
I can say confidently that I would not, because I have them all already.
Yeah. What if I'm in your room when I trip over them?
Oh,
and I'm holding your own books hostage. That is awesome.
Yeah. That would definitely turn out in something very despairing, but.
Oh man. Are you okay, Nick? Somebody pull out your battery?
No. So listen to this. The Deep, a local Huntsville comic book shop, is getting hammered locally because their employees are crapping on what people are buying like they did to us so many years ago.
Oh, really?
So they're getting destroyed online so they can go suck a big fat one.
Wow.
Like they're saying, why are you buying that? That's a crappy book kind of thing?
That kind of shit. The same shit they did to us years ago.
Yeah, they literally straight to me in Nick's face. Looked at each other and was like, man, can you believe, why would people spend money on this shit? And this was my first day in a comic shop in my entire life. Yeah. Like, and I was already like feeling real uncomfortable. Like Nick told me as we're walking in, he's like, please don't embarrass me. Don't like cause a scene or
because they're dickheads.
Yeah. He's like, don't get into a fight with these guys. And I'm just like, dude, what are you talking about? And before we leave, like I'm literally like got my fist clenched and Nick's got his hand on my arm. And I'm like, I'm about to drag this cocksucker over this damn counter and beat the shit out of him. I don't care how big his YouTube channel is.
That shop almost had us. I had never been to another shop.
Yeah, there's a certain.
That's just the way comic book guys were. They were all just a bunch of dickheads.
There's a certain comic book YouTube army that almost needed a new leader.
Is this the shop in Huntsville that has the upstairs?
Yeah.
The big shop's got a lot of pops.
Yeah, they're a massive shop. Yeah, and it's unfortunate.
I've been in there before.
Such assholes.
Yeah.
Oh.
But yeah, they're getting dragged. Hundreds of comments with the same shit we are. And
your philosophy is to talk shit about what other people are picking up, then
Yeah.
that's what
And
happens.
it's not just the comic book stuff. People aren't here talking about Gundam, like they're buying Gundam and other things. And a couple of weeks ago, there was another post where people were like, they're trying to find some other places to go do some gaming. And people were like, I can't go to the Deep or this other place because it's like super creepy. And the guys there creep me out. And but it sucks though, man, because it's a decent shop. And, probably one of the biggest in the Southeast, I would say, inventory wise. But
Yeah.
I haven't been able to step foot back in there in years because of how big of a douche canoes those guys have always been.
Wow.
So share
That's
your
nice.
Heroes Con experience, Nick.
Well, I showed up.
That was great. Thanks for sharing. So, Jeff, tell us about the. Oh, no, go ahead.
I mean, that was it. I showed up. No, but honestly, the only thing I could say is it basically ruins every other con. It desensitizes you to
That's true.
what big books actually are, I feel like, because you walk in. I remember my first con. It was Huntsville Con. And I remember seeing AF-15 and ASM-1 for the first time, and that just blew my mind. One guy had one copy at the show that year, I think, or something like that. But that was it. And that was like the biggest book. I don't even think there was an FF1 there or anything.
Yeah.
And so to me, I'm like, oh my God, it's the Holy Grail. And then we go to Lexington and you see a Batman one. And I'm like, oh my God, that's amazing. And then you go into this show and AF-15s are like Tic Tacs. They're everywhere. FF1s, there's a dozen on one person's wall.
Yeah.
There's a Tech 27 sitting in there, and a mid-grade behind a glass case, 6 inches from me. And I could, if I busted the glass, I could take it and run. Probably not going to get very far, but it's that close to me.
Yeah. If
And
Nick
it's
busted the
funny
glass
because
and
Justin
moved
walking
3
around
inches
and he
closer, he
saw-
could have put his wiener on it.
Yeah.
But
Maybe 4 inches closer.
I basically just followed Justin around all weekend while he shopped and we talked and stuff, because I was there for a couple of books, but I was looking for a very low grade and the prices are still going down on them, so I'm cool, I'm fine. And to be honest with you, like if these stock prices keep going up at my company and I have enough equity, I'm probably going to cash out in January when they vest. Try to find somebody with an AF-15, probably similar to a price point Justin picked it up, or a little bit lower if possible, depending on what's happening. Have it for like a month and then sell it, because I think that's wildly irresponsible to hold on to a $16,000 book. But I can say I've owned one. So anyways, but so I basically followed him around, and then we walked up to this glass case, and you guys probably all saw it. There was a Hulk 181 and a 9.8, the Tech 27, and there were some other big books sitting there. But Justin walks up, he's like, "Oh, dude, look, it's Hulk 181 and a 9.8." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a $100,000 book, but just turn your head a bit, and there's Tech 27 sitting there." No, it was a 4.5 or a 5.5. I mean, it really blew my mind. But at that point,
6.5.
I'd already been through the shop
6.5.
or through the con.
Yeah, it was a
You see-
6.5, Nick.
Was it a 6.5? See, okay,
Yeah.
wild. So what is that? That's a several $1 million book, right?
At least two. That's a $2 million book.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the
Really,
crazy
yeah.
thing is I looked at it, and the Golden guys had it, and I think it'll bump. It had
Yeah.
it had a rub in the bottom left corner.
Mm-hmm.
Spine was amazing. It had no structure issues. There was no tearing around the staples.
Mm-mm.
I really think the book had some room. I
Yeah.
think
Yeah, it looked like it had a little bend on it, like right around like the bottom quarter.
there were three dips on the front and 2 on the back that would
Mhm.
definitely come out. I mean, I think the book's a solid 7.0. And if you've got a Hulk 181 and it's a 6.5, you may not press it out, worry about it as 7.0. But Tech 27, there's a big difference between a 6.5 and a 7.0 because the census falls off the map. Anything
Mhm.
1930s and a 7.0 or above, the census just drops to nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It was wild. But at that point though, like if that would have been me 4 hours earlier, I'd be like, holy shit, look at that book. But I'd already been through the con. I mean, literally every big book you've ever wanted.
Jaded.
What do you mean?
Jaded. You went through. You had already seen so much awesome stuff that you're like, whatever.
No, it wasn't. It was more desensitized, is the way I'm putting it, or the only way I know is because it was just like, yeah, of all things you're gonna see, Tech 27 in a mid grade,
Yeah.
that just makes sense. Whatever.
I told you, man, any book
so
you
it's
could
wild.
ever hope to see in person,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's the best show that you're going to have a shot at seeing it. I mean, they had Action
Yeah.
1 there last year. I don't know if it was there this year or not, but they had the Cap 100 9.9 there last year. And
Yeah.
I mean, me
It
and Jeff
was-
both had the same thing in our heads when we heard about that. I want to look at it, and see if it's legit. And that fucking book was pretty.
It
Yeah.
is quite something. Like people talk about 9.8s as being the best you can get. When you see a legitimate 9.9 or a 10, you can tell the difference. Like you really can see that this thing looks like it fell from heaven and rested on a cloud and never touched a tabletop or a hands or nothing. Like it's just descended from heaven.
Yeah.
Like it's amazing how crisp and clean a true 10 is. Now I've seen some misgraded 10s that aren't really 10s, but when you see it, you know it. Like you
Yeah.
can tell. The condition
And-
speaks.
And to put that into perspective, think about this. And it goes off what you're talking about, how beautiful a true 9.9 is. There was a 9.9 Cap 100 there last year. I don't even know what the count is, but there has never been a 9.9 Ultimate Fallout 4, not one. And we're talking about a book that may be 13 years old. Thousands and thousands have been graded. Not one 9.9 ever hit. And there was a 1969 Captain America 100 9.9 sitting in that case. I mean, to think about that is just, it defies all odds of what a book, and there were no comic shops in 1969. That was a newsstand. It was on that newsstand rack at some point. So it's just amazing. It's amazing to see that stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. I'm going to, are any of you guys going to Collector Summit in Dallas this year?
Ali's going. He mentioned, about going. I don't like to fly, so I'd have to drive. But
Hey, we'll
Have
take
them
my
hit
I heard
me
truck,
the
up.
man.
story, and that's the reason I'm laughing.
No,
I'm
tell 'em
flying
holler
out.
at Bub. Bub's going this year, so I'll be over there, and we're gonna tour Heritage Comics facility, and I think that they're gonna have all their big books on display. So it'd be nice to see all those like super high grade, pristine,
When is
copies.
it?
I'm really looking for like that. I'm looking forward to the show, but as much more than that, I'm looking forward, like you said, Jeff, just to stand there in awe of something that is such high grade and so old. Like I'm digging that. I can't
When
wait.
is that show?
It's in November.
I mean, if Richie and everybody wants to fly, Jeff, I mean, you know me. I don't.
I
fly
think it's
either,
sold
man.
out.
Oh,
I think
is
it's
it?
already sold out. Yeah, there's only like 350 tickets.
Oh, okay.
It's a very
That's
small.
what Ali was talking about. That's right. I remember him telling us about that. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to buy tickets to that like the first week that they post
Yeah, that's
it,
right.
or you're out. Yeah.
I know I'm going to Baltimore. I'm trying to get these guys on board to go to Baltimore with
I
me.
was going to, but it was exactly like it. Well, who said it? Nick? Like it ruins you for other cons.
Yeah, but
Like,
see,
I was
all
gonna
I've
go to
heard about
BaltCon just to
Baltimore
see
is that
friends.
yeah, I've heard
But-
Baltimore is just like Heroes, but it's a bigger footprint. That's all I hear about it. It's just like Heroes, but it's a bigger footprint.
And it's in September, and
Yeah.
I really need to save for Collector Summit because there's going to be some
Yeah.
ridiculously nice books there, and I'd like to walk away with a couple of them. So,
Yeah. And I thinking about Heroes Con, and it amazes me. And they don't get enough credit for this. As big as that show is, and as many people come through the turnstiles, it even on a Saturday, it doesn't feel crowded.
Mm-mm.
You don't
there's plenty
feel
of
like
room.
you don't feel like you're getting bared down on. I felt like at
Nope.
every booth, every once in a while, you wait a little bit to go through some boxes. As packed as that place is, I never felt like I'm just getting. I mean, the show in Atlanta and things like that, just the ballroom show, you feel like you can't
Yeah.
even get to anything.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're like reaching in there with one hand. Just
Yeah,
trying to
I've been in
pick
ballroom
through.
shows where I can't get past backpacks. There's
Yep.
like 3 people in a backpack, and you can't get past them, and it's like,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
The tightest quarters I was in was next to Dustin in a Golden Age
Oh
booth,
yeah.
which was the last place I expected to see him. I was like, there's Dustin in my way. I was like, get out of the way, man. There's a real collector in here. What are you doing? He's
This
like,
ain't
"What do you
your-
think
this
it is?"
ain't
I was
your
like, "That's a
bag."
great book."
The funniest
That was
thing, the funniest thing that I seen all week is another Golden Age booth. It was Worldwide Comics. I come up to Worldwide
Yeah.
Comics, saw this famous funnies. I see Dustin He's holding a Superman 199, and he's about to he's going to start his negotiations, trying to figure out what he can give. He doesn't even recognize that he's wearing a Superman 199 T-shirt. He's holding the Superman 199. He's got a 199 T-shirt on. He's going to negotiate, and I looked at him. I was like, "You're not going to get a deal on that book."
No. You know he's got a buyer. Did you get any kind of deal on that book? Did you get him come down at all?
I think he came down like $75. I
Yeah, he
mean,
did
it wasn't a
little
whole
bit.
lot, but I mean,
Yeah.
for as high grade as that book was, I mean, I could have
Right.
paid full price for it. And I mean, it's a book I'm keeping, but if I wasn't keeping it, I could have paid what they were asking for it, and I would have still been
Yeah.
plenty of
rough.
room on it. Plenty of
I
It's a
room on it.
beauty.
haven't looked at
That-
mine
that's
in
a
years. I
beautiful
didn't pull it out.
Yeah.
But mine's rough. I know it. And you know where he's got like the gunshot on the side?
hmm
Like, so it kind of looks, it almost looks like the whole side is spine damaged.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's
yeah.
not.
Yeah, like I said, man, I think about 60% of the census on that book is below a 6.0. I mean, it's just
Dude.
it's stupid hard to
If
find.
mine was
copy.
a 2.0, I'd be shocked.
Yeah,
Everything was
I've got
better
a
on
copy
camera,
like
but-
that, man. I've got a copy that's just beat to hell. The centerfold's detached,
Yeah,
and I was
I'd be
trying to explain to my wife like how important it was that to have walked up on a copy of that book in that high grade. I was like, babe, I
Mhm.
looked at every copy of this book at this show all weekend. I said, I bet I put 50 copies in my hand. I said, I didn't even have to take them out of the bag and board. I already knew it wasn't what I was looking for. And I showed her
Right.
my copy. I said, I spent $150 on this copy here. I said, you can see how beat up it is. I said, the centerfold's detached. I said, I spent $150 on this copy here. I said, and that's about the going rate in a lower grade is like somewhere between like 75 and $150 on it. I was like, it's just a meaningful book. But I said, to find one that looks like this, I said, you can see the difference in it. I was like, it's damn near impossible. I said, literally 100 copies in a show, and there was
Mhm.
one. And most of
And
the
the
time, you're not
black
even going
on
to
that-
find one.
The black on that cover is really sweet.
Yeah.
And like my copy looks like a freaking memo pad, like a
Yeah.
freaking
Yeah.
marble notebook compared to that book.
And it's like I said earlier, you know, the reason is, and it's the reason why I wanted it is because the story was so awesome. I mean, it people read the shit out of it. I mean,
Yeah.
up until what the last 15 years, I mean, that book wasn't available digitally. You know, for the most part, you had to get a copy of it to read it. And I mean, it's one of those that you get into comics, like that's a book you're going to read. And
Yeah.
I love the story so much when I read the copy I bought. I mean, I've been on a hunt for it for a long time. And I think it was earlier this year. Again, I'm texting Jeff crying and belly aching. I done missed one on eBay. Some guy outbid me, and I was so upset about that. I mean, I threw something. I was standing in the kitchen, and my wife and son, I remember they were sitting at the table, and I'm sitting on my phone, and I'm trying to beat the clock. And every time I put something in there, the guy outbids me immediately. And it come down to the last one, and I went like $200 over my highest bid previously, and thought I had it. And this guy went like $6 over what I had, and he got it. And I don't remember what I had in my hand besides my phone, but I threw it. And my wife's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I cannot believe that I just lost this." I said, "God Almighty, there's no telling how long it'll be before I see another copy this nice." And I reminded her about that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I remember." I said, "Yeah, it was this book." She's like, "Oh, so you're really happy?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Because I got it for cheaper than I was going to buy that one for, and I think this one's nicer." So, but
You know, a lot of
blame
people don't realize that book's as old as it is. You know,
exactly,
they look at it because of the way the artwork looks, the way it's drawn. It
Yeah.
doesn't look 60s. You know,
Yeah.
late 60s. You always think of like how Steranko, how that stuff was drawn. But you see that book, and you're like, that's not 60s. It's a late 60s book.
yeah,
It just looks
67.
like it's something from an early 70s era. It looks Bronze Age, but it's not. That's a black cover Silver Age, and
Yeah,
it's just tough, man. It's a tough
Yeah.
book to find. Yours is at least a VF plus. I mean, it's a VF plus book.
yeah. I think
really
we
good.
can get an 8.0 out of it if we
I
got.
think so too.
If we hit the 8.0 on that second Mr. Freeze, then I think this looks better than that one.
I tell
Yeah,
you
that
what
one-
else too on that book. If you're looking at stuff that looks like when you look at it, it looks like 8.0 or up. It's got color touch. Like that book is famous for color touch because everyone wants to make the black just a little blacker on the edge spine. Black rolls off the edge on that spine, and everybody takes a little marker and just dap, 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 and you'll get hit with color touch every time.
Yep.
So I mean, it's a bad book for color touch. So
he's right.
Have one as pretty as yours.
Got to take it out and look at it inside and out. I mean, and I did a video recently, about a month. Maybe in another month, you guys will get to see it. But it was
is Nick already that caught up? Holy moly!
we're down to one video that's been sitting in Dropbox for the last month, so he's getting close. But it's
I might actually be able to edit one this week because I'll be sitting in San Jose.
There you go.
On what dinners look like, probably in a hotel room by myself.
There you go. But it's tips from the comic book chiropractor on buying raw books, whether it's in especially in person.
Just the tips.
Just stuff that I've seen that people I press and clean for. I don't want to call them customers, but I mean most of them are friends. But for all intents and purposes, customers send me books and just stuff that I see constantly that I find, and then I have to break the bad news to these people, and it's just. They never even and to me, I'm like, man, like how would you not have done this or this to find this? But I mean, until I started doing this, I really wasn't looking at a lot of this stuff either. So it's just some things to kind of keep in the back of your head when you're looking at raw books, especially something like he said, where it's a book like that. If somebody does a really good job of color touch, like you're not going to always notice it on the front, open that thing up, look and see if you can find some bleed through on the inside. And, so
you can't do that online. and I can't, first of all, as a low grade collector, I love shopping in person because there's a lot of mid-grade prices on mid-grade covers that when you pull it out of the bag turns out to be low grade books.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I live. So like what I collect are mid-grade looking books that secretly are low grade, but they present as well as a mid-grade, So at a convention, I can look there and say, okay, let me see that book. And I don't worry about the price because I already know it's more than I want to pay, but it's also more than it's worth. So I'm like, let me see the book, pull out, go. I always offer them to take it out of the bag. Because I don't want to touch it, because I'm worried it's gonna fall apart. You take it out of the bag, they take it out, and when they open it and start looking at it, they always their initial reaction is that they always want to talk about how awesome the book is. And so what do they go to? Page quality, it's complete, cover is in good shape, back cover looks good, it's on staples, the staples are clean, like the normal things that you talk about for a book. So when they open up some of these books, if they find all that and it's all good and the price is fine, I'm like, okay, thanks. And I'll go to the next one, and they open it, but often they'll open it up and they're like, oh, this is a little brittle. That cover had a tear in it. I didn't notice. Oh, the back cover is missing a corner. Oh, the staples are a little oxidized or it's pulled off on one staple. Centerfold's detached. I can't tell you how many times somebody has offered up a book is clean and perfect and the centerfold detached, especially in Golden Age. Like I swear that they detach off the staples just sitting in a box. Like that dude, probably the last time he took that book out, it was on staples. And now after a year of not selling it and people holding it, it's off staples. So it's really awesome to kind of go through that process. And after they do that, they realize, oh wait, this is a low grade book. I've got it for a mid-grade price. Let's work a deal because I don't want to have to reprice this thing later.
Right.
And that's what I do. So that's there's Bubs, just a tip.
And then he's not going to say he's not going to say it. So I'll tell you guys what he really likes to do too. If it turns out that he can't find something in the book that is like, going to say the price is really way too high, he may give her a little on the,
I don't do that
with the thumb, as he's picking it up.
You've never seen me do that.
Well,
I may have done it, but you've never seen me do it. I keep a bottle of water there, wet the back cover a little bit. This got damage.
Yeah,
water damage.
Yeah. He may have a little sticky finger when he's turning that center fold. I mean,
I tell you,
it may have been attached when he got it in hand, but
problem. Yeah, that's a true story.
But yeah, I mean, Yeah, that's always something that I think you got to check, because even some of these dealers, man, they just grade the book and price the book off of the way it looks in the bag and board based on the front cover. And so if you just go along with that, man, you're gonna find yourself getting burned for sure. And you don't want to wait until you've gotten excited about it, paid for it, send it to somebody to press and clean, and
Oh, yeah.
then they send you a message saying, "Hey, hate to be the bearer of bad news," or even worse, they don't catch it, and then it comes back from CGC, and then you find out after you've paid for the book, paid to have it pressed and clean, paid to have it graded, and then it comes
Oh,
back
yeah.
and kicks you right in the ball sack. I
Mhm.
mean,
There's
Yeah,
a long
purple
there's a
labels.
list a list of books too. I mean, that's 199, House of Secrets 92, Brave and the Bold 60. There's a
Submariner
lot of
8.
yeah. Aquaman 11. There's books that when you walk up on them that you've already got to be ready to check for color touch. It's just
Yeah.
you know, it's just the
Steven
way it
just
is.
got a Submariner 8 back that I actually worked on for him, and I told him when he gets it back, I was like, we need to crack it open. I want to find it. I mean, somewhere on that book, there is a minor touch of color touch, and
Mm,
we could not find it for nothing whenever before it got sent in.
yeah.
And he's like,
Nothing on the spine, nothing on the inside.
couldn't see it. So
Could have
I was
been done
like,
with crayon
yeah,
sometimes, or light pencil, something that didn't have any bleed through. So
yeah. I was like, we'll have to really look at that one and see. I mean, it came back. I mean, the book was high grade. I mean, it was
yeah,
really nice. So I
yeah,
told him I'm gonna look back at my pictures again and just see if
yeah.
maybe I can catch it on there. But I told him we'll
Take a
find it.
makeup pad. Take a makeup pad. Um, and run your spine. Anything, a makeup pad will usually and work in about 2 inch areas, 2 to 2.5 inch areas. Work about
Yeah,
a
because
2 inch
it'll
area.
pull it.
Check your makeup pad. Nothing on it. Move another 2 inches. Usually, you can find a little bit of color touch. As soon as it hits that spot, you'll see it on the
Hmm.
makeup pad.
Make sure
So,
the book still has gloss on it, because I did that one time to a book where the gloss had run off
mm,
and it took color off, like
yeah.
real color. I was like, oh man. Look, Nick was so upset by that story he left. There are still tickets available for Collector Summit. Confirmed. Jason says there were. I checked, and there are. And I don't know if they added more or if they haven't sold out, but it's a really small, like, it's only, I think it's only 350 tickets.
Hmm.
So,
We might need to look into that. I had looked. I think it's like a 10-hour drive for us.
Okay.
Really, that's not that bad. I
No.
mean, that's not that bad. We're going to be talking comics the whole way anyway, so
I was gonna say, me and you can sit and talk that long anyway. So
we'll be in the parking lot talking comics. We'll be in the room talking comics. So
you said Ali's going. Which Ali is
yeah,
Ali?
yeah. No, see, we have 3 Ali's.
Right. So
uh,
which Ali is this Ali?
that Excelsior Slabs Instagram, Ali Murad. He's going. I think his brother. No, his cousin. His cousin's also Ali, and I
hmm
think he may be going with him. But if you go to Excelsior Slabs on Instagram, um, you'll see him. Fantastic
Yeah.
collection, great guy. Um, he's really meticulous about his golden age, especially horror. He loves Frazetta. Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. Yeah,
I think I saw him selling on Elite 11 one time, or
Yeah.
helping
with
him
us.
sell on Elite
That's
11.
us.
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Me, Jeff, and Ali.
Yep, him, and Dustin did a live sale. Actually, we did two. We did 2
hmm
live sales. 4 weeks and 2. No, 5 weeks and 3 weeks apart. Now, right, Dustin? First sale was
Yeah.
maybe 5 weeks ago. Last sale we did was right before Heroes.
hmm
We actually had a pop up sale. I wasn't a part of it. Dustin and Bobby and I think Britt and Richie did a quick sale
Yep.
from our booth at Heroes Con. Hey, y'all
hmm
did pretty good, right?
Yeah. It went real good. Absolutely. Yeah, it was fun, man. It was good. It was good to see. Was awesome. He was a.
Yeah. That's the first time I've ever met him, and that
Yep.
was great. I mean, we all got to go out and eat and hang out. You just
Wait,
Mhm.
so that's a different Ali?
Yeah.
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ali. There's a
I
Ali.
quit.
There's a Ali from Elite. He's the owner and the guy that runs Elite Comics.
Right.
Yeah.
But you
then-
guys had another Ali on
2
with
more.
Elite.
Yes.
more.
2 more Alis.
So
Yeah.
we had 3. We had 3 Ali's.
It's getting ridiculous, you guys.
Yeah, no,
You're
right.
gonna have to start giving
And
them
my-
T-shirts. Say 1, 2, and 3.
And I'll be talking, and my wife's like, "Is it you talking about our Ali?" And I'm like, "Yeah, our Ali," because
Yep,
Ali
that's
Murad.
the way I describe them too.
Yeah, Ali
We have
Murad.
our
Right.
Ali and we have
Yeah.
Elite Ali.
Elite. Yeah, well, that's how Elite Ali and our Ali.
Not
Cool.
not to disparage the importance of our Ali.
Yeah.
Right. No, understood. Yes. Not that one's elite and another is not.
Right.
Yeah.
Just by tag alone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
But
Did you
he was really excited about Texas going to that show, and he was
Mhm.
like, "Man, y'all got to go." And he was talking about how exclusive the dealers were and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
and I think Dustin, did you hear? Was it the guy that I think that was with Hiram? I think said that his wife worked at Heritage.
Oh,
So
okay.
he was going to kind of give everybody the really good tour.
The extra good tour.
Yeah. So
Hell yeah.
so I think she works at Heritage. So maybe that's where all their connection. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, and then Trey and them at Dangerously Terrific, they do their exclusive sale at their house where they just, have a few of their dealer buddies come over, and then, they all just sit and swap and sell. And
That's cool.
we got the invite for that last year. We didn't get to go, but he said, we're definitely invited to come back this year again. So
I never knew what DT stood for. I just called the DT Comics guys.
right.
I never knew it was Dangerously Terrific. I didn't know that.
Yep.
Those are good guys, man.
Oh, yeah.
All those guys. Those are some good guys.
Yeah, I love them guys. They've always been good to us. So
Yep. And they really always find good collections, and they keep a lot of good raw stock. A lot of raw stock.
Yeah,
Like,
you saw their booth, I'm sure, Bubs. They were the booth. Their wall was probably almost 20 feet wide, and I mean they're the guys. They'll have 5 or 6 raw copies of every key book you could want. I mean, in different price ranges, different grades. I mean,
were they the ones that had Golden Age on half the booth, and then regular? Was it like a square booth?
kind of, yeah.
In between?
They had one guy that was really tall. They had one guy that was kind of short and heavy set.
Find him.
Hey, that sounds like me.
DT Collectibles.
Yeah.
DT Collectibles.
Dangerously Terrific. They're not on social media though. Yeah, I told him, I was like, could you imagine if we got them hooked up with Elite? Oh my gosh, man, those guys right there. I mean, you talking about somebody get excited because an AF-15 and then they pull 3 of them out. I mean, what show was it? Was it Lexington? They had like 2 or 3 Hulk 1s on the wall. I mean,
Oh, those guys. Yeah, I see those guys all the time.
yeah,
I've been buying from those guys for years.
yeah.
Because
So
they come to Frankfurt too.
okay.
And that's kind of it's not real close to me, but it's one of the first cons that I ever started. I sold at Frankfurt last year.
Okay.
So it's like one of the first kind of locally type, but it's ballroom con,
Yeah.
And I've been buying from those guys forever. I
Yeah.
bought my Swamp Thing 1 from them. I bought I bought a ton of stuff from them over the years.
That's where Nick bought all his
Okay.
ASM keys last year, and so anybody.
Yeah, I bought my ASM. Was it 11 or the one that's got the yellow Daredevil? 16.
16.
I bought
Yeah.
this from him a couple of years back at Lexington.
Yeah. I mean, just to give you guys like a scope of how awesome the dealers are at this show. I mean, the guys we're talking about, Dangerously Terrific. Any show these guys show up, there is such a huge gap between them and the second best booth at that show every
Yes.
time. I mean, they are always top dogs by far at any show they go to. And I mean, they get lost in the fold at Heroes. I mean, because there's so many dealers that are, and not to say that their booth isn't still impressive, because it definitely is, but there's just so many dealers there that
I didn't even
just
stop at their booth at
product.
Heroes.
Yeah.
I looked at their wall real quick,
Yeah.
and I didn't even stop because I've bought from them so many times
Mhm.
that I'm like, I need to go see some dealers that I've not bought from and I won't get to see again.
Yeah.
I see them like 2-3 times a year.
Mhm.
So it only been a few months since I seen them. So I was like, let me Let
Yeah.
me see what the other booths have first. And I never
Right.
made it back.
And they had just gotten a monster collection in. I mean, he told me, this is gonna be the best wall we've ever put up. And I was just like, I've seen the walls you guys have been putting up the last few years. Like, I don't know how they can get
Yeah.
better. What the hell did y'all find?
And
this
they're
is the
fair
first show
too.
he
I
was
mean,
putting-
they're
oh yeah. They're
Yeah.
good on their prices. They'll work with you. And
Yep.
but I mean, hell, the best. Well, who was it that was at South Carolina? It wasn't Dale.
You talking about Rick?
Rick. Okay, so Rick.
Yeah, Rick legit.
Yeah, was Rick at Heroes?
Yeah. There you. Hey, listen. There you go. Rick is a highlight of any show, and you didn't even know
Yeah.
if he was there.
Yeah, I don't even think I noticed Rick.
Yeah.
So I know Rick was at South Carolina. I talked to him for a long time. You know, he obviously had the best booth there. It was between him and was it Bedrock? Is that the name of theirs?
Yeah. Bedrock.
Bedrock and Dale, or Bedrock and Rick were there. So they were obviously they were top notch. I mean, you have a freaking a Batman 1 in the building in a small show like that. Like, obviously
Dale was there too. Dale was at Dale Roberts was there.
Yeah, I saw Dale.
He's a little hard to deal with. Like, he's a
yeah.
nice guy and everything, but he's pretty firm in his prices, and
Yeah.
it is what it is.
But there was another guy at South Carolina, and he by far had the third best booth there. I mean, he had some really good stuff, and I bought really big book off of him. And I mean, crap, it took me forever to even find him at Heroes. I mean, it was. I mean, this show is just, as a comic collector and a lover of the physical books. I mean, it's just it is something that'll blow your mind if you haven't ever seen it. And
Yeah, I mean, like, you look at Rick. I mean, I think he had 4. I know there was 3 showcase 4s.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just
Yeah.
a book. You see AF-15s and stuff. You just, you don't really see showcase 4s.
Yeah.
And Rick had 3 or 4 on the wall, man. It's a pretty. And then Bob at High Grade Comics, I think he had 4 or 5 FF1s in the lowest grade. No, it were Hulks. I think his lowest grade Hulk was a 5.5.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, man, the guys were bringing some heat.
Yeah. I saw 2. Did I see 2? Was there 2 or 3 Punch Comics ones there? I know I saw 2.
There was, yeah, I know I saw 1.
I had my shirt on earlier today.
Yep. It was a 1.5. It was a 1.5.
Yeah.
And I don't remember. Now, last year there was a guy there that had a 5.5.
Yeah, that was wild.
Yeah.
But I mean, and even this one, Mass Comics #1. I mean, we had one on our wall.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think I saw a couple of more floating around out there too. Like, you never see those 2 books ever. You go to 20 shows a year and never see those books.
That LB Cole cover right there is just an incredible cover.
Mhm.
And you look at it and you're like, Cole there's no way he was sober when he drew that. I mean, it's just incredible. I mean, that's true art. When you look at a Mask 1 and a Mask 2, after 1, you're like, how could it get any better? And then he did 2, and both are just incredible. It's almost like some Jimi Hendrix on paper. I mean, it's just incredible.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it for sure. Did you get any original art there, Bubs?
Yeah.
I know you didn't do any videos on it or anything today and drop them, but
yeah, I posted one today on some original art. I guess I can show you some, since I'm sure everyone's already watched my video. But yeah, let's see. I'll just show the original art then. I got 2 pieces. I got this from Stefan Roux, which the glare is going to be horrendous. But
Rocketeer.
Yeah, I know how you feel about glare on your channel, but this isn't your channel, so we're gonna need you to get rid of the glare. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
That is awesome.
That's Rocketeer.
I dream of a Dave Stevens Rocketeer one day.
Oh man, that'd be cool.
Like an original art piece?
Yeah.
That would be a dream.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome. And I picked this up from William Stout. I don't know if you guys know him.
Oh, dude, that's gnarly.
That's wicked.
But he is a sci-fi artist from back in the day.
Hell yeah.
He's a guy that he did like some Cadillacs and dinosaurs with Schultz, and him and Mark Schultz were there, and I got some remarks from Schultz, and just had a big time geeking out. And Bud Root, and they were all right there, and I was like, it was like the corner of heaven right there with Mark Schultz and William Stout and Bud Root, and I was like, and it's so funny because a lot of those people are other collectors I know don't know who those guys are.
Yeah.
And then they were talking to me, and I'll show my age, I guess, but they were like, "Oh, Daniel Warren Johnson's going to be here," and like
I didn't
30
even know who he
people
was.
in the YouTuber community were like, "Oh my God, JW whatever is here," and I was like, "JDW," and I was like, "Who's that?" And they all looked at me like I was crazy and didn't know what the heck I was on. I was like, "Who is it?" And they're like, "Oh, he's gonna do Transformers and he's doing this," and I didn't know who the heck they were talking about. But he had a line. He had one heck of a line. I was like, well, that's cool. So he's meeting his fans. So that's awesome, And then I'm standing on lines. People don't know who the heck I'm talking about, but they're there. Yep. So they're all there, like that's all that matters, is that everybody got to see people that they're excited about. And I got a bunch of signatures and I hadn't done that in a long time, like done the signature route and got commissions done. Like I hadn't done that in a while. So it was really cool. When you're going to be there all weekend, you got time for all that. So,
And you picked up a couple pieces too, right, Dustin? Didn't you get a few? And, speaking of with Heroes, everything going on, I really haven't heard a lot of people talk about the auction. There was an auction that happened Saturday night. And I know that Scotty Young had a piece and they had some pieces. And I saw a photograph. It looked like the hall was packed.
Yeah.
But I don't know, I hadn't heard anybody talk about it.
Yeah, I know a lot of the guys that we were hanging out with, the YouTube crew. I went over there to go with them. Well, that was Saturday night, right? Or was that Friday night?
Yeah, Saturday night.
Saturday night. Yeah, by the time Saturday night when the show was over, I was absolutely busted. I mean, just absolutely busted from getting up so early every day and then, just being right there to get in first and all day on my feet walking around. I was so exhausted. So I go back to the hotel. Nick and them, they all went to go eat like Chinese spaghetti noodles. I forget what the heck they were eating. That's the way it was described to me from one of them. They were like, yeah, it's noodles like spaghetti. You don't like spaghetti? I'm like, no. They were like, it's kind of like a spaghetti soup. And I'm like, yeah, that doesn't sound good to me. I'm going to pass, guys. So I go back to the hotel and I take a shower and I just plop on the bed for a minute. And I swear I thought I was going to pass out. So I get messages like, hey, we're going to go to the art auction. I was like, all right, I'll come over there and check out the art auction. So I get over there and I just ended up sitting down and eating. But I mean, everybody was talking about it. Like apparently there was like some stuff that they thought they were expecting to go for a lot more than it did. You could have got some really good deals on some of the art and stuff, but it seemed to be extremely packed from what I was hearing from other people there. But yeah, I didn't check it out. I was going to go up there. I mean, I didn't think I would buy anything, but just to see what kind of stuff was going up. But I ended up only picking up one piece. It was and funny enough, I walked over to Chris's booth, our buddy that sets up at the Atlanta Ballroom show. And there was a guy in there and I had my Mortal Kombat shirt on. He said something about Mortal Kombat. We started talking about it. And of course, I'm going straight to the comic books. And I'm like, yeah, I've been picking up some of the original art. I befriended the artist that did a lot of the stuff. So I've been buying some art. And he was like, do you like Killer Instinct? And I was like, well, of course. He's like, I've got some original art from Killer Instinct comics if you'd be interested. I got it here and it's with me. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. I was like,
he had no idea he'd a home run with you right there.
Yeah. I'm sitting here thinking like, I'm like, man, this weekend could literally not be going more my way right now. Like this is just going
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
And there was a whole building full of people who felt that way. That's really because any one person can have a great experience, can have a great day and everything's going their way. But to have hundreds of people have the same feeling that this was meant to be, this whole building was created, crafted just for my enjoyment. So I can have what I want and everything. everyone's here and to bask in my winnings, you know.
That's
And
exactly
everybody's got that feeling. That's awesome.
that's exactly how I felt, man. And,
So
And
and next
even
piece,
even a guy like Nick went home and didn't buy anything, and he still felt the same experience we did.
yeah.
yeah,
So this
that's
guy's
true.
like, I have the art piece here with me if you want to see it. And I was like, well, yeah, of course. So he pulls it up and shows it to me. I mean, it's got all the main characters. It's got Jago on it. It's got Riptor. It's got TJ Combo. Like, it is legit. And so I'm sitting here thinking, like, man, I can't even imagine what this guy's about to ask for this. But I mean,
Oh,
how can I let this slip away? So he tells me the price, and my jaw hits the ground. And I'm like, that's it? Are you sure? And he's like, yeah. So I buy it from him. And he tells me he's got a couple other pieces. And he shows me a picture of one of them. I was like, I want that one. I was like, name your price. I don't care. He's like, oh, I can't sell this one ever. I was like, look, dude. I gave him my number and everything. I said, I would never wish for it to happen to you, but if something happens, you fall on hard times, like you need some money, man, like this would go to a real collector. It gets framed and put on my wall. And I said, we live 3 hours away from each other. I said, if you ever get into a situation where you have to sell this, please let me know. So I take the piece he gave me and I go back to the booth and I'm showing it to everybody. And I had to find Britt. So I go find Britt and I grab him and I'm like, dude, you're not gonna believe it. I don't care what you're looking at. Stop. I said, you ain't gonna believe what I just found in here. And I showed him, and I mean, the face he made, I was just like, man. I was like, and I'm thinking, I've been picking up my Mortal Kombat stuff, and so he's got it in his hand, and I just slapped him on the shoulder. I was like, hey man, frame that up and put it in your new house, bud. Like, I know I think his birthday's coming up too, and I was just like, man, that's all you, dude. And I mean, he was just refusing. I thought I was gonna have to fight this man right there on the showroom, and I just walk away, and I'm like, nope, I'm not even going to offer to go put it back at the booth for you. You're going to have to take it and put it back yourself. So, that was a better experience and feeling for me whenever I saw his face and just be like, you know what, that's yours, dude. Because I know he loves that shit as much as I do. And there's not many other people that have that same love for those.
He loves KI. You know what? I bet that's his first piece of original art. I don't think he has any original art in his collection. And you really truly couldn't have picked anything better. Like, even as a kid, I mean, just a young kid, everything was KI this, KI that, KI.
Yeah.
So yeah, you did him right giving him that for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It was awesome, man, to be able to do that. And I mean, and I had just earlier picked up that Peter Laird piece. I mean, and that was I could have not found another book in that show. Everybody in that show could have walked away with an action one except me. If I was walking away with that Turtles 30 that I found with the Peter Laird sketch in the back, I'd have told all y'all, I still won. Like, there's no.
You were crazy.
Yeah,
like you had that look in your eye when you had that. You was like, it was crazy.
And that's funny you say that, because I'm walking back to the booth with it, and Steven sees me, and I'm not even like realizing.
You were dead serious. I mean, you were serious.
Yeah, I don't even realize like the emotion I'm showing. And Steven's just like, what the hell did you find? He said, the show doesn't even open for 30 more minutes. What did you find already? I was like, dude, it's over, man. I said, they can shut this show down right now. I said, and I ain't going to be mad at all. And I show him the book, and I'm like, do you know what this is? And he was like, no. So I started explaining it to him. I'm going through all this stuff, and I'm explaining to him, that this is a book, this series of Turtles started in 2002. It was 32 issues. They didn't finish it till 2015. There's like 5-year gaps between issues. They were only printing like 1,000 of them towards the end. I said, this one had 1,000. I said, but the thing is, Peter Laird was dragging a few of them off the press and sketching in them basically, and just randomly gets distributed. And he said, oh, that's cool.
A little prize egg.
Yeah. And I flip it open and show it to him, and he's like, no way. He was like, only you would know some shit like that. And I mean, like, and then I went and found Britt, and then I went and found you guys. But yeah, I mean, Steven was just like, dude, he's like, you just had this look in your eye, like you just literally hit the lottery. And I was like, I did, dude. I was like, this is better than the lottery. I said, this has less odds than the lottery in my book, man. I said, because I said the amount of people that want this book, I was like, the quantity of this book doesn't even come close to meeting the needs for the people that want it. I said, and then when you throw the sketch in too, not only that, but there's a number 29 that there was less printed and less sketches of. And the guy told me he's got one of those and he's only going to charge me $150 more to get it. When we go to Knoxville, Fanboy Knoxville in 2 weeks, my wife and son and I are going to Knoxville. We're going to spend the day there Saturday, drive to Lexington, Kentucky that night, get a hotel room. And Sunday, I'm going to that guy's toy store to pick that up in person. I'm not chancing.
What? When are you coming? Wait, say that again.
So we're going to the Knoxville Fanboy Expo. It's in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we're going to hang out at that show on Saturday. Then we're going to drive to Lexington and get a hotel room and go to, you ever heard of Toy Vomit?
Toy Vomit?
Toy Vomit. It's a toy store.
Oh, Toy Bomb. Okay.
Vomit,
No,
like throw up.
Oh, it is Vomit. Okay.
Yeah. He mainly deals in wrestling action figures, old, new, high end. He's got the largest inventory on the planet, and so I recognized him because I've watched some of the wrestling YouTube channels. They go toy figure collecting, and they've gone to his store a couple of times. But when he told me he had that book, I said, all right. I said, when we get back in town and you get back in town, we'll get settled in and I'll get with you on it. But I told my wife, I was like, I can't even chance this thing going through the mail. I mean, I don't want to chance it, something happening. I said, I ain't even worried about losing the money. I said, if this book, something happened to it, I was like, there's no way of replacing it. I said, the chances of finding another one, I said, it's remarkable. And I mean, the fact that it has a sketch in it, I mean, like it's incredible. So knowing that was coming too, I mean, it was just walking away from that guy's booth. And what was crazy is it's the same guy that I had bought this Turtles one from the day before. And
so do you have the book?
The Turtles book? Yeah. It's in my other room.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's in my pressing book.
Is it the one with the shark on it?
Yep.
Okay,
Solid
yeah.
Black borders, right? Black cover.
It's a dark blue.
Yeah, it's dark blue.
But the back is black.
Yeah, and it was like a third of them or less. It was like 300 with the sketch in it.
Oh, it's way less than 300.
Out of 1,000.
It's in the twos.
Okay.
And then the other one is 29, which is the cover is an homage to the Dogs Playing Poker painting. And it's got Casey Jones on the cover with the aliens and they're playing poker. And that's like, I mean, when you talk to like real deal, like straight up turtle comic book collectors, like these are two books that like these are in the top 5 hard to find, want to find books. I mean, and I just haggled with this guy the day before until the show closed over this Turtles one, and he never even mentioned that shark book was on the booth, and I didn't see it. I saw the Turtles one, so I was haggling with him about that. And the next morning, I go to look at this Power Ranger toy, and I'm walking back from that guy's booth, and I just happened to see it up on the top shelf. So I stood there for an hour to make sure nobody else could walk up and get to it before I could. And then I stood there. It took an hour before they even got into the building to set their booth up. And I stood there, let them get their booth set up and everything. And, you know, once they got set up, I was like, you guys good to go now? We open? They said, yeah. I said, all right, cool. I said, dude, why the hell didn't you tell me you had that TMNT 30? And in this hour-long wait, I'm sitting here wondering, like, is that sketch in there? Does he know about the sketch? Am I gonna flip this thing open, the sketch being there? And then I'm talking myself down. I'm like, there ain't no way in hell you're getting that lucky. Like, the fact that you found the book, just be happy. Don't sit here and think that you got the cards in your favor to find this sketch. And then I'm like, well, but what if it is? I mean, this weekend is definitely going my way. I am on a straight up, like, this is a no lose situation no matter what happens this weekend, it seems like. So that sketch, if I was gonna find it, this is the weekend. So I'm just anticipating flipping to this last page. So I asked him to see the book. He hands it to me. He said, it's got the sketch on it. I was like, you son of a bitch. You just robbed me of being able to flip to the back and see if it was in there. And he was like, oh, my bad. So he went to like take it away. I said, oh, hell no. I said, I'm buying it still. I said, I just wanted you to know that I've been standing here for an hour just daydreaming about flipping to this last page and being surprised. I was like, you stole that from me. I was like, we're gonna take $50 off the price for that. And he's like, oh, is that right? He's like, well, we're not gonna do that, but he's like, I will sell it to you. I was like, all right. I didn't even
That's
argue with him.
good
I mean,
enough.
Were those books? Were those the? Is that the dealer that sold Richie the first, second, third print run last year?
no, that's a guy that's just a straight up comic guy. He just does
Okay.
comics. This guy was actually off to the left where it jogs over. I was actually walking back from.
Man,
a
I wouldn't
turn.
want to be in that area. That seemed kind of like no man's land out there.
Yeah, there was a toy booth back there, Eternia,
Yeah.
and me and Jeff and Ali had walked back there the day before, and I saw that he had a Power Rangers Command Center toy from the 90s with the box and everything, and I didn't even know that toy existed. So I was going to check that out. And when I was walking back from his booth, headed back towards where the comics were, I was facing Toy Vomit, and I wasn't even going to stop at his booth because I'd already looked the day before. But he had this book sitting right up on the top shelf.
So what are
and
you
I
going to
just
pick
was
up
like, "Oh my
in
God."
Lexington?
The 29, the Casey Jones
Oh,
playing
you-
poker.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
And it's got the sketch in it too.
Mm.
And he's
Cool.
charging me like a
Have you
hair
seen
more.
the sketch?
No, I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I haven't seen it yet. So, but I mean, he's charging me just a hair more than he did for the shark cover. And when he told me that, I was just like, oh my God, dude! Like, and like,
The sketch that's in your 30s is not really a sketch. It's really detailed.
yeah, it's nice,
It's-
man. I've got a
Yeah,
picture
it's
of it.
super nice, man.
I think Laird. I definitely think after seeing that and comparing it to, Eastman's turtle, I definitely think that I prefer Peter Laird's turtle to Eastman's.
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, that's
I
a
mean,
lot of detail.
Yeah, and it's huge, man. Like it takes up almost a whole freaking back
That's
cover.
cool.
So, but yeah, just knowing that I got that other one, and my wife, like, golly, man, like I gotta have like the best comic book collector wife on the planet. Like she's not into this stuff, but she gets it so much that when I told her that I had to make a special trip to go to Lexington, Kentucky just to pick this book up, drive 6.5 hours one way, pick this book up, turn around, drive 6 hours back, she immediately starts planning, well, how far is it away from Knoxville? We're going to be going to Knoxville. Why don't we just drive straight to Lexington and get a hotel, and then, we can come back? And I'm like, you're a genius. That works out. So we're going to make a whole weekend out of toys and comics. Are you kidding? Yes. Thank you. I mean, like she gets it and she supports it, and sure, I there's income that comes with this hobby, depending on what I'm doing with it. But I mean, even if it's just something that I'm getting for me, like she totally gets it. And as long as I'm not breaking our bank account to do it, then she's all about it. She's supportive of it. So it was super cool.
And let's not gloss over the fact that she's an excellent cookie cook. Excellent.
Yep, absolutely. She makes sure to, anytime we got anything going on, she'll make sure that everybody's got something good to snack on, man. She can throw down in the kitchen for sure.
Yep.
So, but yeah, I mean, and then Jeff, I mean, talking about original art, I mean, I don't know how much of that you got was actually original, but I mean, I don't remember what all you said, but I know you had some just insane art pieces in there.
Really, I haven't had time to go through it. I hadn't even unzipped the bag since I've been here. It was it was a weird situation. I mean, you saw me under the table.
Yeah.
And they were like, their uncle ran some type of publishing, and he had a bunch of like artist folders and stuff like that. And the folder itself was extremely heavy. I mean, you picked it up, Dustin. This thing's heavy.
They're like portfolios?
The whole bag.
Dude, it was
just, it had books. Yeah, it had books. It had art, had all kinds of stuff in it. And they were just tired of toting it around. And they was like, we do not want to tote it any longer. It's heavy. And I was like, well, how much for everything? And they said $300. And I was like, done. They said, you can have the bag and all.
You haven't gone through it yet?
No, I hadn't really gone through it. Now I do have this sitting here. This was in there.
Oh, you got the big one?
This was in there. The Frazetta Golden Girl.
Oh, nice.
and it's the way Frazetta signed these was different than what he normally does. This is when he did a studio piece, he would sign this way.
Okay.
If I can see if I can get this signature to show. Let's see right here.
Oh yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Wow, he's got a great signature, man.
Well, normally
That's cool.
he signs sort of straight up and down,
Yeah,
and then with a studio pieces he would sign like this is his normal signature. Like that's the way it
Right.
normally.
right.
But with those studio pieces, he would actually sign like a real flow, real pretty signature. And at first, I didn't know if it was real or not. And me and Ali's a big Frazetta guy.
Hmm.
So we did some research, and that's the way he would sign on studio pieces. There was some other Frazetta stuff in there, nothing original, of course. All just like studio prints
But
and things like that.
getting a legit signature of
Oh yeah,
Frazetta,
yeah.
that's
A real Frazetta signature. I mean, it's got to be $300 or $400. I mean,
yeah.
just because it's Frazetta, but yeah, there was a lot of pieces in there like that, and I still haven't gone through a lot of the artwork stuff that was in there. But I mean, for $300, I drug it back home.
Absolutely. Ali picked up some cool stuff. He got what? All the original art for the Tiggerverse stuff.
That stuff was amazing. That was
All the
great.
cover art. He got
Yep,
almost every single one of
Wow.
them.
maybe
And
five or six pieces. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, it was
yeah.
incredible. And the coolest thing to me that he picked up was he got a bunch of like really, really cool TMNT animated series cells, the
Bells, yeah.
animated cells.
Yep.
And those were cool as hell.
Did,
So
didn't they have like some markdown? excuse me, some markdown prices from Toys R Us for like two
yeah.
dollars and 25 cents or something like
Hmm.
that?
Yeah. And I mean, to be legit animation cells, like, and I looked at the ones he had, and there was one on there. It was Raphael, and I was just like, "Oh my god, dude! Like, you gotta let me buy that one off of you." He's like, "All right, I'll put your name on it, man." But I mean, those were super cool too. So I mean, yeah, like I said, I think outside of Nick, but I didn't have a lot of high hopes Nick would buy anything anyway. But I think for the most part, anybody I came into contact with that went to Heroes walked away with something that they added to their collection that, it put them on cloud nine for a time anyway. I mean,
Oh
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
it, if you didn't walk away with something that gave you that feeling, I mean, I feel like with the amount of books there, then that's you. That's all on you because I mean,
Yeah.
if
I tell you what I did. Like we got back from Heroes on Sunday. Monday night, I'm sitting in the bed. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. I just randomly got up, come downstairs, and pulled out my Jetsons and the Monsters.
Yeah.
Look, look, listen. I looked at both of them, and then I took a picture of both of them with my phone so I could put them back up and go. I went back and I would just blow them up on my phone and just look at them real close.
hmm
Yeah.
I mean, 'cause I was just like, you just tell yourself like you look for something like that,
yep,
and you look for something
Yeah.
like the highest grade Jetson that I had ever seen was the one that sold on Heritage was the 90, and I knew that there was 192 and I knew there was 194 somewhere, but there's not a single photograph of either one of those books. Well,
hmm
the Monsters especially, there's no photograph of the 96 or the 94, but I knew they existed. And then there they were both in that same box. And then when the guy told me they were Geppi's copies, I was like, this is why you can't find a photograph because
oh
Geppi had that stuff stashed.
yeah. I mean, and I mean, would you have been happier to walk away with those or the Chamber of Chills? Like, if you had to pick, if you
No.
walk up to a booth and those are sitting there and the Chamber of Chills is sitting there, which ones are you walking away with?
Well, the thing is, the Chamber of Chills is obviously a more prestigious book, but those two are much more scarce. And that great to show you, Comic Link has two more Chamber of Chills coming up, a 6.5 and a 9.2 in 2 months.
Yeah,
I can search. That's a 10-year book. I mean, it could be 10 years and I may never find another 9.4, 9.2 Jetsons or Monsters book. I mean, only two above a 9.0. It's more scarce than Scooby.
yeah,
The 9.4 Scooby is out there somewhere, but nobody knows where it's at. Nobody. As a matter of fact, there's a guy on the CGC message boards a couple years ago. He had $1,000 reward for anybody that could tell him who owns the book. You get $1,000 if you can just tell this guy where this book exists.
Wow.
And so that he can hopefully negotiate to own it. That's how scarce some of these books are, some of these early cartoon gold keys and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, the hero books, I mean, like you think about fantastic, put it this way, in my backpack, you know, I had a 5.5 Fantastic Four one, and I had a 6.5 X-Men one. I had the Jetsons and the Monsters book in between those two, so nothing would happen to those.
Yep.
And they were worth a fraction of the cost. But I can, even though they're way more expensive, I can find a 5.5 FF1 and I can find a 6.5. I can probably go on eBay right now and find either one in a 5.0 or a 6.0. Either one. And that's when you know you've matured as a collector and you've went past the threshold of where just value is the only thing that means the things that I keep or the things that I want in my collection. When you find books that you appreciate, you really appreciate what the book is, its scarcity, and it has sentimental value to you. That's when you start to really collect. You say, the heck with the money. This is what, and in my personal collection, the things that I look at the most are my Hanna-Barbera books, anything, you know, Johnny Quest, my early Flintstone stuff. That stuff means a lot to me. I was a Saturday morning cartoon kid. You know, that's the stuff that means stuff to me.
Yep. Yeah. And knowing that about you after you pick those up, everybody kind of walked away from the booth and me and Steven were just sitting there talking and I told him, I said, man, I'm so glad he was able to find them books. And he was like, yeah, me too. I said, man, he said, that dude was down in the dumps earlier. I said, about all that stuff he couldn't get and that Chamber Chills, all that shit. I said, he could have come in here and bought 20 books that he was going to be able to make $2 million on when he got back. I said, that wouldn't have been near as satisfying as finding them 2 books right there. Like me and him both agreed. We were like, those 2 books right there were like, there's nothing that you would have found in there that have made you happier than them 2 books right there.
The only thing I'm mad about is I left things. I left some stuff. I'm gonna set up. That's why I'm going to Baltimore, is to finish up what I left. I mean, there was some stuff in there. Listen, there was a 9.8 Brady Bunch one in there.
Oh wow.
There was a 9.4, or 9.6 Andy Griffith show.
I was about to ask you if you saw a high grade Andy Griffith, because you know I've been looking for that.
It wasn't even high grade. It didn't even look real.
Jesus, man.
It was 9.4, 9.6.
I can only imagine what he was asking for that.
It was amazing. It was amazing to see those books in that high grade.
I remember watching that with my grandmother when I was a kid, and then watching it with my mom when I was a kid. Like
there was a Bonanza one. The first Bonanza, the 4-color, was at 11.17, solid black cover, super high grade. Everything was like continue. The first Twilight Zone, it was a 9. No, I think it was the only 9.8.
Oh wow!
I think it was the only 9.8. Yeah. I mean, just some of these books probably hadn't surfaced in 35, 40 years, and they were all in the box.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
This guy had all that stuff.
Yep.
Wow.
And he's going to be in He's going to be in Baltimore.
He's supposed to be. Yeah, he's supposed to be there. So hopefully I can maybe
Did you get
finish
his number
up.
and stuff?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah, there you go. So make sure you call him ahead of time. Be like, hey, don't sell them damn books.
Well, I'm gonna do another run with him. He's gonna lay everything out and video everything for me. And then
there you go.
And there were 5 or 6 boxes that he didn't bring with him that nobody's seen. So we're gonna video those. He's gonna send me those, and I'm just gonna do a quick go at it again, because I'm like, some of this stuff you can't sleep on. Some of the stuff is even overpriced, but you know that you'll never get another shot at it. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes you're setting the market, and that's how I feel about, where my collection is sometimes is oftentimes you're like, well, is that a good price for the book? I don't know. Is this a good price for the book? And then you find something that you're the expert in. You're like, well, I'm the guy. When someone else sees this book, they're going to contact me and ask me if that's a good price for it.
Yep.
So I'm the market. I'm setting the market. So when I look at a book and I'm like, you know what? This book's for me. This is the new highest time this book's, this is a new price for this
Yep.
book because I want it more than anyone else who's ever seen it in the last 30 years.
Yep.
That's my
Yep.
book.
Yep.
And
see,
then,
and
that's how I go.
you're exactly right. Like you may have a guy, like you may have a certain book that you've looked for 5 or 6 years. You know what that's worth if it surfaces. You know what it is. And the guy that just randomly started collecting 3 months ago, he happens across GPA. He's not the guy. He walks up on that book at the same time as you. It's taken him 3 months to find it, but it's a 5 or 6 year book. He doesn't know that yet. When he passes on it and 5 or 6 years passes, he's thinking back, damn, I should have bought that book 5 or 6 years ago. That's where you've got the advantage. You don't mind overpaying or resetting the market like you were talking about. That's a 5 or 6 year book.
Yeah. That was the way I felt with that FF51 that I bought in the last year, that Thing book that I got the 9.0 on.
Yeah.
I fell in love with that character. That was probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite, stories from the Fantastic Four run. And it's another one of those books, kind of like the Superman book. It's such a great story. All the copies you find, yes, it's not a scarce book, but they're always beat. It's hard to find a copy better than a 4.5 or a 5 most of the time.
Yeah.
And when I had a shot at getting a 9.0, I mean, there wasn't even a GPA on it. There wasn't a sale recorded in the last 6 years. Like, you couldn't find any information on how much. And and I just, and I talked to Jeff about it, and I'm like, the guy's, it's under $1,000 for this book. We're talking Silver Age, Fantastic Four,
Classic.
one of the best thing covers that the best thing cover that has ever been.
Yeah.
And I can sell an Uncanny X-Men 266 to a friend of mine who wants it for the exact price that this book is going for.
Yep.
There's how many thousands of First Gambit and 9.8 out there, and I can sell that and get this, and it's again, like you said, it's a book you won't see in that kind of grade again for who knows how long. I'm not even taking a chance on it. I mean, it was a done deal. So yeah, I mean, it's always cool when you can find that book, like that feeling when you finally get it in hand. It sucks when you get it in hand and you're like, damn, like I can't even make a move on it. But when you have it in hand and like you're able to walk away with it, like that is definitely some of the best, most satisfying feeling you'll have for sure.
And like you had studied on that book, and you had looked for that book enough that you knew without looking at GPA, you knew what dealers were asking. You already knew if that book surfaces in this grade or X, you already knew it's worth this.
Yeah.
And for me, that one book, like the one book in my mind that I'm willing to reset everything for, and it's just an absolute ghost. A lot of people don't know that it exists. There's a 35-cent Scooby-Doo #1 variant. It might be the lowest census book you've ever seen as far as a variant. I think only two have been graded.
Wow.
But it's an absolute ghost. And if I ever find that book in any condition, I mean, I've had a bounty on it for years. It will not surface. I search every single day, 7 days a week. First, when my emails hit every morning at 8:00, that's the first book I look for every morning, 7 days a week. It never surfaces. So when it surfaces, like if I'm competing with a random guy who just looking to add to the Scooby collection, and I've been looking for this book for 10 years, 8-9 years, I'm going to reset. It's going to cost me and him both, because for me, it's the time. I'm buying the time, not the book. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to look for it for 10 more years. For me, what I need it now. So it's going to cost us both. So
that's awesome.
That's nice.
I didn't know about that either. So that's wild.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think everybody, I haven't heard anybody have any negative thing to say about Heroes. What's up, Shop for Comics? Man, this guy right here, you talk about original art. This guy, So he's been drawing depictions of YouTubers in the comic book community for quite some time now, and he did one of me this week, and man, I tell you what, I don't think he could have hit it more on the head.
Ah,
Sub-Zero. I got the hat on,
yep.
the skeleton from the fatality. So
Did
he
he do?
freaking
Did he
nailed
do
that.
the? Did he do the one of you with the mankind? What did he do? Is he the one that did
Oh
that?
no. That was my buddy Brian Silverbacks. Yeah, I haven't told nobody about that one yet.
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
haven't
My
even
bad.
showed anybody that, but yeah. And
Gotcha.
I picked that up from him and I actually sent that to CGC, so it's gonna get graded
Oh,
and come
cool.
back with the yellow label. But yeah, that one I'm excited about that one too. That's gonna be cool. But when I
That's
saw that
cool.
Sub-Zero, I didn't even see it at first. Oh, look at
Ah,
you.
Joker.
Oh, man, it's too bright. It's too bright.
Yeah, no, you gotta turn your cell phone brightness down.
Okay.
There it is. Man, that's awesome too.
That
Yeah,
is
he's done
awesome.
some really, really good ones, man. Some really good
That's
ones.
cool.
I always look at them and I didn't even notice it. I had a friend send it that sent me a DM and I was like, "Oh, damn, man, that's cool."
Oh yeah, that we can see that good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Hell yeah.
Be
I
great.
like that.
My buddy Ryan sent it to me. He was like, "Dude, check this out." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And he was like, "That's you." And I looked at it and I was like, "Oh shit." I noticed the hat and then I was like, "Oh shit, that's me." And he had just sent me like a screenshot of it and I was like, "Where did you see that at?" And he sent me and I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Shop did that." I was like, "Well, shit." I was like, "Hell yeah." I was like, "How did I miss that?" And he had just done it like a few minutes before, but being at work, I don't always get to mess with my phone too much. And
Yeah,
when I saw that, man, I screenshot it and I was like, "Oh yeah, that's going to be a profile picture of something somewhere down the line because that shit was just too cool." So
that's cool. That's cool that he's doing that for everybody too.
yeah. It's definitely
Yeah,
it's
it is
been
pretty
neat to
neat.
see everybody else's, and then when you see yours, you're like, "Oh shit, like he did one of me. That's awesome." So, but yeah, I mean, it's freaking 12:30. So, and I don't
Yeah, I
shit.
think Nick went to go bag and board his pickups from HeroCon. He's
He
busy.
told me he was coming right back, but
I think he went to get his pitchfork and his torch to take it down to the comic shop.
Oh man,
Oh, he was tore
Jeff,
up
am I
about
following you on Instagram? What's your handle on Instagram?
Well, I had a good friend of mine make me a new Instagram, so it's now undergraded _ comics. Yeah, my buddy Dustin set that one up for me.
Well,
I have
I'm your 15th follower.
okay, cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
and I've got an older page too that I use for my vintage stuff, my BMX stuff, and it's just old school Grail collector, but it's old _ school _ Grail _ collector.
yeah, I know, Jason. I told my wife that too. I'm always lying. If I say I'm not gonna take too long, but we're talking about comic books, then yeah, I've already lied. I mean, there just ain't
Listen,
no way around it.
if she knows, if she's already planning the trip to, she knows.
It
She
was like
knows.
today. I told her, I said, "Hey, I got to run down to Uncle Richie's house." She was like, "For what?" She was like, "You was just down there with them the other day." I said, "I know." I
we
said,
had
"I gotta go pick up my bags and boards. They came in." I said, "I ain't got none, and I need them."
Well,
we
is
need
she
to
gonna
talk.
be mad if I try and like do breakfast with y'all when you're in Lexington or something?
No, dude, we
When are
can do
you when are you coming through?
that.
Because I got my brother coming in from Baltimore for 4th of July week.
I'm not a
So hopefully,
local. I'm not a local, but I'm going to make a suggestion. The biscuit belly.
the Biscuit Belly.
Yes, it's in
Where is it
Lexington.
at? In
It's in
Lexington?
Lexington. Yes.
I'll check that out.
Yep.
It'll be the weekend of July 7th through the 9th.
Through the 9th. I think he leaves the 7th, but you're probably not coming in till Sunday or something, right?
Yeah, we'll be driving in Saturday night late and staying at we're gonna stay at the same hotel that me and Nick stay at when we come right
Okay.
across the street from Pies and Pints.
Yeah.
But we'll be there Sunday morning, though. Yeah, we'll be there. So we can work something out to go meet somewhere Sunday morning. That'll be fine. Yeah.
Well, you guys are coming down 75, right?
Oh, I have no idea. We'll be driving from Knoxville, so I'm not sure what the route will look like.
Yeah. You'll be going up 75, and then I assume you're coming back down 75 to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, 75 back to Atlanta for sure.
So I might could meet you at a Cracker Barrel or some shit in London. There's a
Okay.
little town called London. It's right there on off 75 exit. I'm trying not to take you too far off path, I guess is what I'm saying.
Okay. Yeah,
So
that'll
we might
work.
not even have to do it in Lexington. Maybe we can meet for lunch or something after you
Yeah.
play with your wrestling toys with your buddy and pick up your little turtle book.
Mm-hmm.
Then we'll have
Little turtle
After
book.
your-
That's fine.
after your first play date, maybe we can meet you guys for lunch or something on the 9th.
Yeah, that'll work. That
let's
sounds good.
talk
We'll
about
plan
it.
that out.
Hit me up in the DMs or the textins or whatever you
Yep.
want to do. Just no video chats. They get a little creepy.
They do.
You don't dress appropriately. So, yeah.
But I was telling Amanda that I had to go out there, and she was like, oh, you was just out there with him. I was like, I know. I said, but look. I said, Jeff ain't going to be there. I said, Richie's probably not there. I said, it's just going to be Britt. I said, he's pressing and cleaning books. So I said, he's got stuff going on, and he knows I'm picking books up to come back. I was like, so I ain't going to be there forever. And she's like, okay. Like she bought that. I mean, I was probably there for an hour just chatting with Britt, looking at books that were pressing and stuff, talking about, she
Sure.
knows, like, there's no way. There's no way.
I can't even come in and out of a shop in an hour. Like
No.
if I find a good shop, I'm stuck.
It don't even have to be a good shop for me. Like, if I walk into a shop and I'm like, oh man, like if I look at their wall and there ain't nothing there, and I'm, like, I can't leave without feeling like I saw something cool. So I'll dig through every damn box in the shop until I'm like, all right, man, that is cool. Like, I got to find something that I'm just like, all right, man, that was cool. So yeah.
It's funny too that all of us are the same way. It's like an unwritten language that
Mhm.
nobody has to explain.
Yeah.
It's like just being in the atmosphere, whether it's a good shop, a bad shop, you stop for a second and you're like, even if it's bad, you're like, where else would I rather be?
Right. Absolutely. I could walk into one shop, they could have one box there, and I could have dug through it the day before. I'm gonna dig through that
Oh,
damn
yeah.
box again. I mean, like,
Yep.
just can't help it.
Yep.
Can't help it. But well, shoot, we're gonna get off of here, guys. Anybody that's been hanging out all night, we appreciate you guys hanging out and watching. Hopefully, we've convinced a couple of you guys that Heroes Comic-Con is the place to be next year. Not too many of you guys, because as we said, it wasn't super crowded this year. I don't want to show up next year and have a bunch of y'all up there cramping my style. Because I'm who was it? Somebody told me I need to have like turning signals and stuff on when I'm up there, because I'm just like got my head down the whole time and I'm just like moving like a freaking wild man. I was like, hey,
It's
I
a
can't
job.
help
It's
it,
a
man.
job.
I literally screenshot the floor map, and I took my stylus on my phone and mapped out the route I was going to take on this show 4:30 in the morning on Friday because I couldn't sleep. I mapped out how I was going to attack this show because last year I was upset as hell that I didn't go to every single booth, and I was like, how can I hit every booth? And I
forgot a booth.
Oh, I didn't, man. I hit them all.
I forgot a booth, and it was an artist booth, and the artist hit me up. I didn't even know that he knew that I was gonna go to his booth, but I guess he follows me on Instagram.
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't know. So he hit me up and he was like, "You didn't stop at my booth." And I was like, and it was after the show. I was like, I forgot, and I really did mean to go to your booth, and I had never said that or anything, but I guess he just assumed I would, and I would have, but I forgot. I was going to get a commission by him even in my head. I was going to put him on one of the sketch covers I brought, but it never happened. I was like, man, I hope you go next year. I'll be there next year. He's like, I don't know. I'm thinking of quitting cons. I'm like, oh crap.
Yeah. It's hard, man, to hit everything, and you get distracted. And I mean, so
There's
many
a lot.
times,
It's a lot.
Yeah. I mean, I would find myself, I'm going in the order I said I was going to go in, and I'm at this booth, and I can't help, looking over here, and I see something, and I'm like, I want to go over there so bad, but I know if I go over there right now, the whole plan is shot, and I'm going to miss who knows how many booths. So I'm just like, man, like, I'll get to it. I'll get to it. Last year, I kept going scatterbrain. Every time I'd see something, I'd run, and I missed all kind of stuff. So I just kept having to tell myself I got to stick to the plan. And if I'm meant to walk out of here with it, I'm gonna walk out of here with it. But
Yeah.
You did good. You did good though. I mean, you did. You did good.
yeah, I was happy with it for sure, man. I was definitely happy with it. So
And like you said, I don't think I talked to a single person that wasn't pleased with their haul and their experience.
nope,
Not a
absolutely
single
not.
person.
And
I'm
no
ready
matter
for
what,
next
Well,
year.
I mean, there were some people
yeah.
that got sick, I guess, technically.
yeah,
That would have ruined my experience overall, but that's not
that was
the
outside of the
concept.
show. That had nothing to do with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
show. that was an inebriation issue.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited for Baltimore. I can't even process in my mind getting the words out that there is another show better than Heroes though. So the fact that people keep telling me that, I'm just ecstatic to see it. But I've said it all week long. Like if you're a comic book collector, Heroes is the place where dreams come true, man. Whether it's seeing a book and holding it in your hand or taking home a book you never thought you'd have. I mean, all possibilities are going to come from that show.
Yep. Baltimore has to be special though, because it's the only show that CGC ever did on-site grading.
Yeah.
And you think of the undertaking that it would take of what they have to bring to
Mhm.
encapsulate slabs.
They don't
And
do
they
it
go-
anymore, do they?
They don't. But I in my mind, I'm thinking it had to have been a special show because it's not that close to Sarasota, obviously. So
No.
you're thinking the undertaking that it's going to take for us to bring the slabs, to bring everything we need to do the labels, and we're going to be overwhelmed. You're going to be overwhelmed with product at on-site grading. And Baltimore was the one. I'm thinking it has
Yeah,
to
I
be a
got
special show.
I got my Daredevil 1 done on site at BaltCon.
Mm,
And I got my Hulk 181 done on site at BaltCon.
mm.
So I was real pleased with the results.
I heard they were good. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. You would drop off on say Friday, and then you would go back on Sunday.
Yeah,
to
and they
pick
let
up?
you know. They had mine done earlier. It depends. If you had 10 or more books, I think it was, to get done, then you were like on a different list. You were on a different
Ah,
line, and they did those right away. So
Gotcha.
yeah, they would work on each batch of books at one time. And if you had a 10 or more, then you were at the front of the line. But
Gotcha. Man, we really need to push on them to do that again. I mean, that would be fantastic. That would be worth planning a trip around to a show
yes,
just to get on-site grading.
Oh yeah.
I agree, because there's so many books that I just cringe to send in the mail, and I just can't do it. Like
Yeah, I
I
know what you
want to
mean.
send it. I'll be nervous for 60 days. And when you hear the horror stories of especially the older books, I'm not submitting some modern I expect to get back in 20
Yeah.
days.
Yeah.
I mean, when you hear about some of those older books being gone for 18 plus months,
Yep.
it makes me sick.
I had
Yep.
I had a set that was gone for 27 months. I mean, it was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yep. And especially the magazine tier. The magazine tier is so far behind right now. I've got some really good magazine stuff, Savage Tales and things like that. I just if you send them in, you're out 180 days. I'm like, I'm just not going to send anything in.
I'm not doing it. I picked this up at the con too. I picked up a Savage Tales 1
Nice. There you
There you
go.
go.
and Vampire Tales 2
Mm,
Okay.
for I think it's 2 to finish off my Legion of Monsters collection
yeah.
of all
Yeah.
parts appearances of Legion of
Yeah.
Monsters. So
That's
needed those. I finished a lot of collections. Like it just blew my mind. I got those to finish off my Legion of Monsters. I got Flash Gordon number 3, I think it was. Not the Dell run, the Harvey run.
Okay.
So I picked that up, and that's out of 4. So I finished my collection on that. So it was like to get these books that and those are books I was kind of after, but I had my pick. Like, and that's doesn't happen.
No.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
wasn't
Golden
like
Age
you
to
just
finish
had
a
to take
run
what was there.
takes forever, you know.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff.
Yep.
Great con. I know Dustin has been trying to end the stream for 25 minutes.
Oh no, you're good, dude. I just got a notification on a book. I was just looking at it. This shit don't stop for me.
I hear you.
Yeah, we're all gonna sign off so we can go do more comic shit. you
Right?
know?
Me and
Yeah,
Jeff,
for real.
what were we talking about the other week? Was you get a notification, wake us up in the middle of the night, and just sitting there wondering if one of the other, if me, you, or Britt sitting there looking at the same damn thing on eBay.
Oh, I know. And I'll sign on and I'll look at Instagram, and you can tell y'all were on like 20 minutes earlier. It's
Yep.
3:00 in the morning, and everybody was on like within 20 or 30 minutes of each other.
So my wife knows already when I get a notification and it's for a book, because she'll be like, "How much?" And I'm like,
Yeah.
I gotta see. Is this a good one? Is it worth it?
Yeah.
She's like, oh boy. She's like, uh-oh. But she's also seen me parlay that before and get a notification on a book,
Yeah.
flip it if it's that type of book that I have a notification for, just because I know that there's some good deals out there, and flip
Yeah.
the book and pay for some stuff. So she,
Mhm.
in the beginning, when I first started collecting, it was a little bit, she let me do whatever I wanted. It wasn't about that, but it was like, is there really anything? What's this worth? What's this worth? And
Yeah.
then after just a couple of years, she was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Like, what a difference between
Yeah.
what you paid and what other people are paying and what yours is worth,
Mhm.
and being able to clean and press and do some conservation makes a
Yep.
big difference when you collect the kind of books I do.
Yep.
And doing all that in-house as opposed to sending it somewhere is cost savings too. And
Yep.
sending all my books to PGX instead of CGC. I was waiting.
Yeah,
I was waiting.
let us know how that works out.
You'll get someone's book back
Yeah.
in 30 days.
Yep. So you gonna be in Baltimore then?
I don't know. My brother
Stay at
lives
your
up
brother's
there.
house.
Yeah, my brother lives up there. I'm gonna see. He's coming to visit in a couple weeks for a week, but he's staying with my folks who live down here now. So I'm gonna see how the visit goes.
Okay. Well,
And
if it
if the
goes
visit
well,
goes
just
really
tell him you're
well-
bringing guests, and we'll
Yeah,
all just
yeah.
crash at Bub's
The
brother's.
visit, well, he just got a new house this year. So if the visit goes really well, I'm gonna be like, didn't you get a guest room? And then we'll see if I can crash up there. And if not, at least I'll have to visit him. And he always goes to conventions up there too. So I'm sure he'll be there anyway. So
Yeah.
I
Griffin,
might
were
do it
talking
this
about
year.
man.
I might wait till next year because I got Collector Summit this year, and that's probably not a
Yeah.
thing I'm going to do every year. So, and I'm putting away money for that because that's going to be like, you'll walk in there so the big thing about that is not the booths. I mean, there were more Golden Age dealers at Heroes Con than there'll be at Collector Summit. I mean, by ridiculous margin, there'll be like 6 dealers here. So it's not even close to the level of amount of books that you get over there. But what they do is they set up these tables, and the whole room is set up with tables. And you know how you guys were talking about, like, you had books in your backpack to like trade and sell and stuff. So these tables are open to everyone who has a ticket to the convention. So you come and you can set up your table with whatever you want. So you don't need a booth. It's just tables set up everywhere. And it's more of a swap meet and a networking event, plus the dealers and the tours and the dinner and stuff like that. So it's kind of like a networking event for all this kind of, gold, silver, and bronze, I think, is where they draw the mark. So it's a big deal for that.
It's a hand-picked room swap.
Yeah.
Hand-picked room swap. Like really choice dealers, the guys that spent the money to buy the early tickets, they have a mindset like you've got. So it's a really choice room swap. That would be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm going to do, it's my first time going. So I'm going to put a bunch of money back and invest in my time to make sure that I'm capable of picking up whatever it is that I see that I can't live without. And there's a couple of books in my mind and there's a couple of books in my mind that I want to have market price available to me if I see them. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like there's like 3 books in my mind that if I see this book at X amount of dollars, I want to have enough money to buy it. And then two other books that if I see this book at X amount of dollars, I can buy that one and that one, right? So if I see these 3 books for these 3 prices, they're coming home with me. Like that's what I have in my mind. And if I don't, well, then that frees up some budget for a book I didn't think I'd see, or a book I'm not necessarily after, but love anyway. So we'll see.
Gotcha.
Hell yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy.
Let's see. Yeah, Baltimore aggressively for sure, man.
Yeah.
Everybody's been talking about it, so I'm definitely going. I know Birch is going. I think some of my guys with Jeff, I think we're all going to try to go too. So there's going to be a crew of us headed up there. NYCC, I mean, nothing against NYCC. It's just not the kind of show that interests me though. Like I don't really have any interest in going to that show. All I've heard is just the immense overcrowding, standing in line to get in, taking forever, and that that seems like the kind of show to me. All I hear about it is the the autographs you can get there. Like I don't ever hear a whole lot about the books. And I talked to Justin about it, and he goes every year just because he has to do it for work reasons. He's a comic book letterer, and he said it's his least favorite show ever. He said last year he got there at like 10 and was back in the hotel room by like 2 because he said it's just not the kind of show that he likes either. So, and he knows what kind of shows I like, and he told me word for word, please don't put yourself in the situation of being at Heroes Con because you will probably just end up, hating everybody that is in the building because you're just gonna be so uncomfortable and unhappy with the type of show that it is. I was like, okay, well, okay then. I mean, it's one of those like, it's NYCC. So would it be kind of cool to be able to just say you've been to it? Like, sure. But
yeah, it's a bucket list con for me because I'm from New York. So and I didn't collect back then. And it wasn't as big as it is now back when I lived there. So, and my brother does go. He goes from Baltimore to New York to go to that. He goes to 2 cons, BaltCon and New York City Comic Con. So I need to go. It's not going to be this year, and I'm not rushing it. But at some point, I am going to go and experience it, and I'll probably have all those same gripes. I mean, I'm sure I will, but I need to see it just so I can say I've been there.
I think about the price of tickets, getting there, paying for shit in New York, like the budget that it would take to make that show happen. And that the amount of money that would be taken away from my Heroes Con budget.
Oh, I'm staying on my sister's
that's where
couch.
I'm at. So I'm like, I can't. Like I'm not wasting Heroes Con budget for New York Comic Con. I can't do that.
No, you're right.
So,
I think New York. I think New York and San Diego both are also event oriented. It's like an event more so than just a con. I think it's the whole. Everything as a whole. I think because I know Funko, a lot of manufacturers are actually at New York and they're actually setting up booths, selling stuff. I think Sideshow, I think it's more comic book content than just comics because there's a lot of manufacturers that set up at New York. Now I would love to go to New York.
The name to like an expo.
Yeah, I would love to go to see all of like XM Studios, Sideshow. I would love to go see those booth setups there. All the statue manufacturers.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff. And I've talked to Jim Man about it multiple times because I know he gets to get the inside scoop on all that stuff. And I'll talk to him when he gets back and ask him, what's coming. Like last year when Fulgore got dropped, I mean, I was already texting him like, hey, what's going on with Fulgore? Like when I need the information, and he's sending me pictures and stuff. But yeah, that kind of stuff will be cool. It's just the budget it would take to make it happen for me. Yeah, I would just be like, man, like that would be a year where, like, if I was going to do that, then my Heroes budget would be non-existent, and it'd be hard for me to choose. So I don't know. We'll see. Who knows next 10 years or so what things will look like. I mean, maybe it'll be no problem, but. I mean, it would be cool to just like we said, it's one of those things where it's an experience, and one of those that it'd be to just be able to say, yeah, I've been and had the experience of being at New York Comic Con. I mean, yeah, I can see that for sure. So
I think you would have to go there not with the mindset of like trying to buy comics to flip. I think you just have to
Yeah.
go to New York just to experience it. Just
Yeah.
to actually just
Media event.
just
Yeah.
enjoy everything.
Mhm.
Don't try to go and make any money. Don't try to, go and just go and
Yeah.
enjoy everything.
Don't
I think
I,
you'll
yeah, I
enjoy
would
it.
have to have the mindset of like I'm not going there to buy comics. Like I'm
Yep.
not going like whether
And
it's to
to
press, clean, and sell or add something to my collection. Like if I find something cool, but that's not my expectation. So
Yeah.
went to like 10 cons last year, and I worked half of those, and the other half I just went to. And this year I've changed my mentality. I'm going to go to a spring con, which for me is Lexington because it's local and
mhm.
people kind of expect to see me there, and I like seeing people. So I'll do Lexington, and then that's my local con. The summer con is going to be probably Heroes Con every year. I don't think I'll switch from that. And then I'm willing to make my fall con change every year. So
Yeah.
this year I'm going to do Collector Summit. Probably next year I might do BaltCon. I'll probably skip it this year and do it next year, and then maybe the year after that it can be. I don't know, when's New York City Comic Con? Isn't it earlier or is it later?
Oh,
Is it one of the
it's
fall
still
ones?
it's still summertime because I remember my brother and them were playing ball that year and they couldn't go. So I'm thinking maybe
Probably
August.
August.
Yeah, I think it's August.
So, but anyway, that's what I'm thinking. Three cons a year is probably enough for me because if I do more than that, I can't really build up enough in between.
Yeah.
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 Okay, it's in October.
New York's October.
Mhm.
Yeah, I thought it was in the
didn't
fall.
realize-
So that puts so to me
Okay.
that puts that as a possibility too down the line. And I know MegaCon, it's in spring.
It's
Yeah,
the same
it's
weekend as
one of the
Lexington.
first. Yeah, MegaCon's always early.
No, it's the same weekend
it-
as C2E2. Excuse me. So that's before
Yeah,
Lexington.
and I have no desire to go to C2E2 because
Me
Chicago
either.
sucks.
I
So it's too,
Yeah.
it's too expensive.
Well, and that's another one. I mean, it seems like the big hustle bustle around C2E2 is the amount of exclusives. Like that's the big exclusive show. Like you get the big exclusive covers that come out, the artists that are there, and I mean, and that's totally great because I know a lot of people really enjoy that, but that's not my bag. So, for me, like I would rather I think next year Nick and I are going to go to MegaCon because I mean, I don't know if he's still here or not, but we want to go. We want to go see Perry. So, like, we're going to pay for tickets to get into MegaCon so we can go see Perry. But no, there's a lot of people that go to MegaCon, so that's going to be like our show we go to next year, and it'll be more of just a hangout show, and if we'll look at books and stuff. But I know a lot of the YouTube guys go down there and hang out. So
Yeah, and I'd like to do that.
That.
So maybe I'll let that third con just be a floating con. It doesn't matter
Mhm.
when it is, just so long as I do 3 that year.
Yeah.
But to me, this Charlotte was the best networking con, or social. Like my wife, right? She went with me, and she's like, this was a weird vacation because usually vacations for her means poolside, beachside, like total relaxation, maybe a book or something, but totally calm, and relaxing. And she was like, this was a social event. Like we were busy, we were hanging out with everybody every night. We were hanging, and every meal was with other people around, the whole time. And and she didn't. I don't know that she really expected that as much, even though I told her that was going to happen. It happened. It was even more so than I think we expected.
Yeah,
definitely. She expected.
I need Heroes to go to a 5-day show. I mean,
5 days.
I gotta have 5 days.
I don't want to spend that much money on a hotel. That's book money.
If I had one more day at that show, then I would have left the money at the house like that. Like if I had one more day, then I could have just that whole day I would have just spent going around hanging out with everybody, like shooting the shit. But when I know I've only got 3 days, because really Thursday, we were thinking Thursday we'd be able to really get in there and like I mean, my hopes were, I told my wife, I was like, I'm hoping I'll have half my budget gone by the end of the day Thursday. But Thursday didn't really work out where we were able to do too much at all. So I mean, that leaves me with 3 days to get through all the books, and I'm like, man, if I had one more day, I could have just spent that whole day just hanging out. Wouldn't have had to
I
worry
went to
about looking at
Heroes.
books.
I went there 4 years ago, and I had a dealer pass that year, and it was nobody wants to make deals before the show starts.
Yeah.
Like and every other show that I've been to, I've made great deals before the show starts. But at Heroes, like nobody wanted to deal. Everybody was like, "That's the price. This is what I got." I'm like wanting to trade books. You could maybe sell a few books to vendors, but they weren't really wanting to pay top dollar either. They were just going to lowball you and get what they could and throw it on the wall. So it was like, I don't know. I didn't have a good experience trying to do that at Heroes Con. To me, Heroes Con is to pick up PC books, and if you are a flipper, you got to do. You can't be hunting the biggest books. You got to be hunting normal, run of the mill keys and stuff like that. But if you're after mega keys, it's for the PC. It's going to be PC collecting. So.
Yep.
Yeah.
I learned my lesson 4 years ago, and I didn't come in this year with that mentality.
Yeah.
But I did then, and I was disappointed then. So
yeah, Thursday I was hoping they'd have a lot of stuff set up. That was just going to be a recon day for me. I wasn't even going to try.
Some people don't set up at all. Like they were setting up. Yeah, some people were setting up like 10 o'clock on Friday, 30 minutes after the VIPs were already in.
Yeah, because they couldn't get everybody in the loading dock. It was such chaos Thursday.
They were wrapped all the way around the building, all the way.
Yeah, I couldn't even get my truck in there. I had my little blue wagon. I packed all my shit up and drug it 4 or 5 blocks down the street when I got there. But I mean, yeah, even with all that, like it was still awesome, fantastic, 10 out of 10 experience, 10 out of 10 show, all the way around. So
it always is.
Yep, and it will be until I can't get my ass down there no more anyway. So, but all right, guys, for real this time, and everybody still watching, we appreciate it. Again, hope to see some of you at Heroes next year, but not all of you because can't be having too many damn people out there. Too much. I don't want too much competition and crowding down there. I need space to breathe. So, but I appreciate you guys coming on and hanging out. As you can see, I was abandoned. So without you guys being here, it would have been probably a little boring, but always good hanging out and talking with Bubs and shit. Me and Jeff, we talk every day. So it's just a daily routine.
Good to meet you, brother. Yep. Everybody have a good weekend, man. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah.
Tell Nick we was able to give him the night off. So
there you go. Absolutely. Guys, make sure you go check out Bub's comics and look at his record collection. Excuse me. That is why he changed it to Bub's World. So he does all kind of stuff on there, but I know the No Faces chat's probably one of my favorite things that he had going on there. And he's got a whole dadgum library of those. And you can go on there and learn all kinds of shit about all kinds of different books. So go check that out, guys. And we will see y'all on the next one. Maybe.